Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk, and we're going to cover a lot today. I'm going to start with just a pathetic story, the left. The left are having just complete panic attacks over the fact that Trump, yet again, was given a clean bill of health in his annual physical. They just can't handle it. And it's just so bizarre. So I'm going to start with that, but there's a lot of other things to cover as well, and your phone calls at 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. Stand by. We're going to be live in seconds. Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. It is, can you believe it, Monday morning already. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, the Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. My name is Brian Craig. We're going to cover a lot on the program today because a lot has happened over the weekend. But I wanted to start with just a pathetic story of the left. The president's annual physical has happened, and unlike other presidents, he releases the doctor's findings. And not only do presidents not do that, people just in general don't do that, including their height and weight. And he does it. And the media get pissed off every time he does this because he has a clean bill of health. You know, President Trump is a superhuman person. I mean, he is in better shape than most people half his age. I don't know. I don't know how he does it. Maybe it's just genetics and he was born that way. But the media hate it. And if you remember, the first time this became an issue is when Ronnie Jackson was the White House doctor. Trump had his physical with Dr. Ronnie Jackson. And not only did Ronnie Jackson give him a clean bill of health, he came out with the authorization of the president and had a press conference with the White House press corps. Remember this? It was epic. And the media were so angry, and the liberals were so angry that Ronnie Jackson gave President Trump a clean bill of health in his physical that they destroyed his naval career. They ran him out of the Navy. He was an admiral in the Navy. Now, it worked out well for Ronnie Jackson. He's in Congress now, and he's been in Congress for years, and he does a great job. But they tried to destroy the life of a doctor because he gave President Trump a clean bill of health. Remember that with Ronnie Jackson? These people are pathetic. And then yesterday, Kristen Welker on Meet the Press, she has the Speaker of the House on, and she's like visibly upset that President Trump has been given a clean bill of health by whoever his doctors are now. Listen.
Speaker, that's what people are going to vote on. Just to be very clear, he hasn't released all of his medical records. He released 2 letters. Should he release the results of the cognitive test?
It's unnecessary. He's on display every minute.
So it's unnecessary. You concede that he didn't release his medical records. You don't want to know things like his cholesterol level, whether he's dealing with any issue that we may not know about, if he's going to be commander-in-chief. And he also said he would release cognitive tests.
Listen to your question.
Should he release that?
The American people, Kristen, the American people don't care about the cholesterol level of Donald Trump. They care about the cost of living and the fact they cannot pay for groceries because Kamala Harris and Joe Biden's policies have put them in that situation. The medical records are irrelevant. Let's talk.
Okay, so we got the 2 summarized letters from the doctors, clean bill of health, and he even scored perfectly on the cognitive test. And Kristen Welker, her hands are shaking. She's so upset about this. And, you know, she feels duty-bound to try to bring Trump down. And I remember when Trump got COVID, they were jumping for joy in the media, and they were blaming him and everything else. You know, Kristen Welker, remember this. Kristen Welker and her parents spent Christmas Eve and Christmas morning in the White House with President Obama and the first family when the Obama girls were little girls. So she should have to disclose this at the top of every episode of Meet the Press. She is not a journalist. She's not a reporter. She is a Democrat Obama activist with man hands. And yeah, that's true too. That's the least of her problems, although it's probably a problem for her. She probably hates having those man hands. But, you know, she should have to disclose this. She got that job, and she's supposed to tear Trump down. I've never seen other than with President Trump, a president released so much of their medical records and their cognitive function test. I don't even know if I could pass those cognitive function tests. They're not easy. They're not. Okay, I don't know how people do it. Of course, the last 4 years, they weren't interested in them with Biden. They just ignored it, and said, well, he's a stutterer. He doesn't have cognitive problems. He's a stutterer. Now, all of a sudden, they get the records and they still want more. It's amazing to me, these group of Trump derangement syndrome sufferers in the Democrat Party and the media are upset that the president of the United States is in good health. There's some things that should be and are bipartisan, and an American president, whoever they are, being in good health is one of those nonpartisan things. But Kristen Welker, she just can't have it. She's got to find something. I think maybe she needs to do some type of cognitive test and find out where she sits on the Trump derangement syndrome scale. I'd love to hook these people up to some machine that registers, like a lie detector, that registers their pulse and breathing levels when good news about Trump is presented. Could you imagine? Their heart rate must start to go through the roof. They must be like nearing strokes when there's good things. I'm sorry he's doing well. When do any of you remember regularly getting detailed health reports on a president of the United States? Bill Clinton never released his. Obama didn't release his, not like this. Biden certainly didn't. Only Trump, and they hate him for it. I mean, it's just so bizarre. They can't even hide their hate, right? I mean, when you're hating on someone because they're in good health. Now, I understand if it's, it's like an ISIS leader and they're in good health. I'm like, oh, that's too bad, But this guy's president of the United States, and he's in great health. And even if he wasn't, J.D. Vance, he's a youngin', and he'll be fine. But, I love how she's harping on the cholesterol level. What does his cholesterol level have to do with anything? Oh, my goodness. Well, listen, we got a lot to cover today. And if you're on hold, hang in there. We'll start taking calls after the first break. Our number's toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call, no matter where you're listening. Another thing I want to mention, a big deal's being made of this Blue Origin rocket with the all-female, and they're not a crew, they're passengers. Blue Origin is, it's basically a high-priced roller coaster ride, is what it is, right? The people in it do nothing. They just sit there, and then they float around a little bit. They go up and down. It's 6 minutes. And it was a big deal when the first one happened because it had never happened before. And then it was a big deal again when William Shatner went up on it. I thought that was pretty cool. And his reaction, William Shatner, when he came back to Earth 6 minutes later, was very interesting. But it's no big deal to have a group of, 5 or 6 women on a rocket that just goes up and down in 6 minutes. However, there's something about this Jeff Bezos rocket that no one's mentioning, right? All I'm hearing about is girl power and strong women and all this nonsense. Jeff Bezos's Blue Origin rocket is shaped like a penis, right? Everybody knows this. It is shaped like a penis. And I remember when it first was unveiled for the first launch, people were talking about the rocket, and a lot of people said at the time, Jeff Bezos must be a real monster. The rocket scientists were so mad at him that they made his rocket look like a penis. And I think Jeff Bezos had them make the rocket look like a penis. In fact, he may, as weird as because he's a weird guy, let's face it, he's a weird guy, okay? Isn't Jeff Bezos weird? I don't know. I use Amazon every day like most people, but he's eccentric. He probably, it would not surprise me, if Jeff Bezos modeled for that rocket. That if it's his penis, that it's been, would it surprise you? And I'm watching all this talk about girl power. How many women are going on it? 5, 6, however many? And no one's pointing out the obvious thing. We've got these women going up on this penis rocket. It's so bizarre. It's so bizarre. The only people that care about it are the ones that are going up on it, and their immediate friends and family, right? But other than that, who really cares? And the only thing that makes it news is that we've got these celebrity women going up into space on a penis rocket who are talking about girl power and feminism and all this. If they were piloting it, maybe. But it's just hitching a ride, okay, on the rocket. Now, I know it's a big deal. I don't know if I would want to do it. I don't know. I don't have that much. I don't ride roller coasters, you know. But William Shatner had the best, out of everyone that's ever been in the space, the best reaction that I thought was the most honest reaction we've ever gotten. He said there's nothing up there. He says you look around, it's all black. You look at Earth, that's where everything is. That's where life is. Outside of the atmosphere of the Earth, there's nothing. If you go back and watch his immediate reactions after he went up on Jeff Bezos's penis rocket, I thought it was pretty profound. And I've noticed a big change in William Shatner in the way he carries himself and his personality since he went up into space on that thing. All right, listen, if you're on hold, hang in there. We'll take our first break of this MAGA Monday morning. My name's Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. We'll be back right after this. Yes or no? Does it look like a penis, the Blue Origin rocket? What do you guys think? And do you think that Bezos might have modeled for it? It's bizarre. Completely bizarre. New Zealand, welcome. I'm bizarre? Well, been called worse. Been called much worse. That's right. If you're new, my name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure that you subscribe. Do you think Donald Trump cares about Americans? Absolutely. You can call in. The number's pinned in the chat. It's toll free. You're welcome to call in. We'll be back in just over a minute. Less than a minute. We'll be back from our break. This is a radio station break. That's right, Michael, winning. Absolutely. Yeah, I see 100% agreement that the rocket looks like a penis. Okay, so yes or no, do you think Jeff Bezos modeled for the rocket? Well, you can call me on the air and I'll respond. I respond to the callers more so than the chat. I can't talk to the chat on the radio. Here we go. Welcome back on this Monday morning. I'm Brian Craig. It is the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. Now, this may be the most important question I ask you all day. Do you or someone you know or love suffer from neuropathy. If you do, I don't have to tell you, it is living torture. You know, the signs and symptoms of neuropathy are, without question, living torture. The numbness, the pain, the burning, the tingling in the hands and feet, dizziness, muscle twitching, the feeling of pins and needles in the hands and feet. Some have no feeling at all. Some have multiple symptoms at the same time. The symptoms of neuropathy, they make life unbearable. But there is hope. There is a treatment at Lighthouse Medical in Pompano. And Lighthouse Medical Center in Pompano, not only do they have a treatment for neuropathy, they have a treatment that works and a treatment that lasts. They rid Steve Kane of his neuropathy over 2.5 years ago, and they can do the same for you. Give them a call. When you call, make sure you tell them you heard about them on the Steve Kane Show so you can take advantage of their no-charge consultation. 754-222-6642. 754-222-6642. That's 754-222-6642. And online, lighthousemedicalcenter.com. All right, give them a call. Get rid of that neuropathy. Stop living in torture. All right, I'll take a call or two, and then I'll get into some of the issues, because there are a lot of issues that we got to discuss on the program today. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Oh, try this line. Okay. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. Jeff from Maine.
Hey, Jeff. What's up?
You know, when that lady was asking about Trump's cholesterol level and stuff to Mike Johnson, he should have turned around and said, why didn't you ask about the cognitive health of Biden when he was supposedly president? Because that guy was out to lunch all the time.
I know. Yeah.
That hypocrisy is makes you want to vomit.
It really does. I know. And you know what's crazy is they don't even see it, Jeff. You know, like this Christian Welker.
No, they don't.
They don't even. They're so consumed with their hatred of President Trump. They don't even see it.
And it always goes back to that. They don't only hate Trump, they hate what he stands for, and that's America first and the Constitution and we the people. They hate the fact that he's going to right our government, and we're going to watch America become great again. How can they stand against that and save face value while they're spewing their hate? You know, it's absurd to me.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree. But you know what? They're a cult. They're a cult. Yeah. Never Trumpers are a tiny little cult.
And we don't fight people. We're fighting principalities and powers and spiritual wickedness in high places. We are fighting evil, and President Trump is not going to waver. And could I say one thing about that poor governor from Pennsylvania that had his house torched? I tell you, that guy should be arrested for domestic terrorism, and if he's found guilty of that, be sentenced to life without possibility of parole.
Well, you know, this lunatic, they got him, and I was reading today, I don't know the whole story behind it, but his property was seized and sold at a sheriff's sale, and they think that might have been what drove him to act out and commit that arson.
They haven't reported that yet. That's the first. But
because they want to float. They want to float They're trying to find something that's MAGA with him before they tell you the truth. They want to connect him to MAGA.
Go. Exactly, Brian. You know, they're not going to tell you the truth. They love to twist things, and you know, liberals repeat what they're told thinking it's truth, even though it's blatantly a lie. And that's what's got to change in America.
That's right.
Truth needs to be taught in school. And I always say it goes back to education, how we're going to change America. And Trump's going to do that. You know, everything Trump's doing is for the betterment of America. And we as Americans need to stand. You know, I do not want anybody hurting any political figure, no matter what side of the aisle it is, and that's how MAGA is. That has no place in politics.
No, we condemn violence, but this god awful event in Pennsylvania looks like it was personal because of his property getting seized and sold. Yeah, so it wasn't political.
That I didn't know that about his house and stuff, but that's absurd. He could have killed children and
Oh yeah,
stuff.
I hope they bury him under the jail. I mean, the guy, they should go for a death penalty on that. I mean, what he did is totally unacceptable.
Does Pennsylvania have the death penalty?
That's a good question. I don't know.
I'm not sure if they do, and that's one thing we need to bring back to America. If at the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses you murder an individual, you give up your right to live. And I know you're not for the death penalty, really.
No.
But I'm not talking about just everything. But when you try to target a family and wipe them off and kill them, I mean, how do you redeem that person?
Yeah, that's a whole nother level. All right, take care, Jeff. Good to hear from you. Okay, now I came across this morning, and this is very disturbing. I don't know if you knew this. The other day, it was World Hijab Day. World Hijab Day. Yeah, that's right. And they had an event in New York City with, I don't know if this is a spokesperson, but there's a hijab-wearing lady NYPD police officer who, she's in full uniform and her hijab, and she's speaking about Muslims in the NYPD on World Hijab Day. Listen.
I've been wearing hijab for 15 years as an NYPD member of service, and I'm super proud of this department of where we came. We came from where there was barely any Muslim officers to where we have over 1,200 members of service and over 10 ladies wearing hijab as a member of service, uniform member of service. And I think that's awesome. And I'm looking forward for another 100,000 ladies wearing hijabs in the near future as an NYPD. I also want to say a message to the sisters in the room. Wear your hijab, sisters. Be confident in it. Don't let nobody tell you different. Wear it with pride, right? Because remember, we wear it for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala first, and everything else is going to fall in place. It's okay to be different. It's okay. New York City, we are all different in here. Nobody is same. So be comfortable, wear it with confidence. Don't feel like your hijab has to stop you from going advancement in your career, in your dreams. Anything you want to do, you can do it. And again, I say this with all true sincerity because I'm a mother of 3 girls myself. Your hijab does not stop you from doing anything. I'm standing here, look at me. I'm here. I can do it, you can do it, right? So if I can do it, any of you ladies can do it and do better than me. Don't let nobody tell you you can't. You can. The word I can't does not exist in your vocabulary, okay? So I'm not going to take up too much time, but I love you all, and I'm so excited for you guys to be here. Assalamu alaikum, and thank you.
Okay, now she's a sergeant in the NYPD, and listen, I want to ask you guys a question. I want to hear your thoughts on this. And here in Florida, we have so many New Yorkers that have retired here or relocated here, and I'd really like to hear your thoughts on this. If I would have gone on the air on September 12th, 2001, and said, on Easter week, 2025, not only will there be a National Hijab Day celebrated in New York, but there'll be 1,200 Muslim officers, about a dozen of them wearing hijabs on duty, and the NYPD will honor a hijab-wearing New York City police officer, NYPD sergeant, at a special ceremony. You would have thought I was nuts if I would have done that after September 12th. And, what I find disturbing about this woman is not just the hijab, and there's no talk about 9/11 and the post 9/11 world. I mean, how was this allowed to happen after what happened on 9/11? The firefighters and police officers who lost their lives on 9/11, what made them heroes is that they were running in the buildings that everybody else was running out of. Okay? And I don't even hear that on her radar. She's a very much post 9/11 person. It's not even on her radar. And you got to ask yourself this. I mean, did we win the war on terror? We have 1,200 members of the NYPD that are Muslim. We got 12 hijab-wearing lady officers around about, according to her, on National Hijab Day. Afghanistan is under the control of the people that knocked down the buildings. Did we win or lose the war on terror? And what's your thoughts about this celebration of the hijab with an NYPD? Do any of you find it offensive? And what about the family members of those who lost people on 9/11? Would they be offended by this? I would be. I'm offended by it. It's really a strange world we're in, guys. All right, we're going to take our break for the bottom of the hour. It is Monday morning. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. My name is Brian Craig. Our number's toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you're listening. We'll be right back. Yeah, guys, tell me your thoughts on that. In a word or in one or two words, describe that National Hijab Day NYPD officer. How would you describe? And I'd like to hear your thoughts on the phones on that. Give me a call. I was pretty shocked by it. Yeah, I mean, it's just nuts to me. Nuts. Yeah. Sad, desperate, sick, disrespect. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look at what's going on in England, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Pretty bad. It's crazy. I mean, what would have people thought if I would have predicted that on September 12th, 2001? People would have thought I was nuts. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's offensive. Remember 9/11, never forget. You know, they forget. Just like the Holocaust, never forget. And then they, and you got these Candace Owens types going around. Have no interest in going to England. No interest. All right, we'll be back in 10 seconds. Stand by. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. Yeah, I mean, that National Hijab Day with the NYPD, that is just bizarre. And, here's the thing. If you think about it, So 9/11 this year will be 24 years, right? So if you were out in Honolulu and it was 1965, do you think they'd be celebrating that they have 1,200 police officers that are Japanese on the Honolulu PD? I don't think so. There's some things that are just in bad taste. And what's going on in New York, we see this with this National Hijab Day at the NYPD. We see this at Columbia. They're trying to do to New York City what they've done to the UK. And it looks like they've had a lot of success. Now, AOC, who's running for vice president with Bernie Sanders, right? Bernie Sanders and AOC have this national tour that's going on. Every time they claim to speak to 30-some thousand. I doubt that. And I've noticed she's gained a lot of weight. That's the drinking, the partying and the drinking. She's been gaining a lot of weight, AOC. But her and Bernie Sanders are running for president. And that doesn't mean that they intend on winning. There's a lot of prestige and money to be made running for president and losing. But AOC's goal is twofold. Replace Schumer in the Senate and be president one day. That's it. And I don't think she plans on being second banana to this idiot, Bernie Sanders. And they go around, both millionaires, and they've got these speeches and talking points from like the 90s. Oh, the Republicans, they're gonna end Social Security and Medicare. With Doge, they're saving these government entitlements by cutting out all the waste. But AOC sat down for an interview with some pod people from the left and pontificated her outlook on America. Listen.
Also, you know, the other way I think you can think about it is that we are, you know, perhaps we are in the downfall of the broken way.
Okay, the downfall of the broken way. She's talking about the downfall of America. No, just what she and her friends were turning America into. You know, this country would have collapsed if anyone would have become president other than Donald Trump. They were about to outlaw basically being white and male and hetero. That's it. That's the way it is. And these radical revolutionaries like AOC and Joy Reid and lunatics like that, they thought they had taken over the country. And they were going to be running the country for the next 100, 150 years. So their future's over. It's gone. At least their vision of America. Thankfully so, because their vision of America was the end of America. But anyway, let me rewind it and we'll listen to all of it.
Also, you know, the other way I think you can think about it is that we are, you know, perhaps we are in the downfall of the broken way. This was not built to last. Inequity, injustice is not built to last.
America.
It lasts a long time. It could last hundreds of years. But ultimately, it crumbles into this, you know, a small cohort of incompetent people.
Yeah, Donald Trump and his great cabinet. Yeah, a small cohort of incompetent people. Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, my goodness. My goodness. And I'm glad to hear her say that because they know on the left it's over. The party's over. They were doing very well, but the country has been red-pilled, and people are sick of their way. This hate America first cry. You know, like everything that's going on with Trump and these international relations, right, with the tariffs. I am so tariff talked out. I was talking to Steve last night. I said, my good. You know, the thing about the tariffs that just has me worn out talking about it is that everyone knows, everyone, including the left, that Donald Trump's position is right on this. These countries around the world have been ripping us off. American manufacturing has moved to these countries all over the world, including vital things like prescription medications. I just saw a story today that a big Swiss pharmaceutical is moving production to the United States because of the tariffs. That's what we need. You know, we need to be more self-sufficient. We're not self-sufficient. And everyone knows that what Trump is doing is right. And these endless discussions about the trade wars and tariffs, it's just stupid because the other side know Trump is right. Okay, they know it, but they just got to disagree with whatever it is that Trump proposes. And the argument against what he's doing is just so stupid. I'm exhausted with it. I just can't argue with stupid. But I'll tell you this. There's been a lot of fake news reporting about Trump and Elon Musk having a falling out, which is in the opposite is true. And I give you two examples of this. On Friday, President Trump flew home to Mar-a-Lago, and I always watch online when he lands in Palm Beach. And of course, the first person to exit the plane is the president. The president got off the plane, walked down the stairs, and got in the Beast, and he's sitting there. And I always look to see who gets off next. I always like to see who gets off Air Force One. Who got off next? Elon Musk with X. And then Elon with X on his shoulder walked down the steps and got into the Beast with the president, who was waiting for him. They are tighter than ever. So any reports that say they're out it's fake news. And I wonder, does X is he like the youngest person to ever have security clearance? Because little X is hearing all kinds of conversations. And then I noticed when the president went back to Washington, he had Elon and X with him too, in the Beast. And now why he always has Elon so close to I think it's two reasons. One is they're tight and they're best friends. There's no doubt. But I also think the president's protecting Elon Musk. Right? Elon Musk, the left, they hate this guy like no one's business. They loved him till about 6, 7, 8 months ago. And as time goes on, as the more thievery and corruption he uncovers, the more they hate him. And there's no better security than what the president has around him. So a lot of it probably is for his personal security, and it's probably why he has X around him all the time too, is for security. But the week that we were gone on our cruise a couple weeks ago, there was nonstop reporting that the two of them have had a falling out. And then they started this thing that Elon and Peter Navarro had a falling out. I saw Peter Navarro on TV over the weekend. No falling out with Elon and Peter Navarro. No falling out with Elon and Trump. But, like over the weekend, and Trump came out and corrected this, there was nonstop reporting on every outlet that Trump had lifted some of the tariffs. Oh, it's causing uncertainty. And I even heard a guest on Fox yesterday who was arguing against the Trump tariffs. And look, he's taken back more tariffs, and businesses don't know what to do because one day and President said all that was fake news. And it was fake news, but the media continue to report the lies. And, the question that I really ask myself is, how long has the media been this way? How long has the media been this way? Have they always been this way? There's this thought in so many of our minds that back in the days of Walter Cronkite and Tom Brokaw and all those people, that the media were honest, that they sourced things, that they did investigations, they interviewed people. And we see now that they don't do any of that. They don't do any investigations. They do no interviews. They just make things up and report it. And then they plagiarize one another. And I'm starting to think it was always this way. And, as much advancement as we have with the new media, right, internet media and everything, the fake news media of the newspapers and the television is very powerful still, more powerful than I think a lot of people want to acknowledge, because they report these fake stories and they become reality. And then a day or two will go by, they get exposed, but it's already embedded in people's mind, the fake news story about Trump putting tariffs on and lifting them up and causing market instability, and he's showing instability, and he's getting advice from people, and then he changes his mind. No, there's total consistency, and the whole story all weekend was fake news, and Trump posted on True Social just that. So the media has probably always been this way. I wish we didn't have to acknowledge them, but they have a lot of influence, a lot more influence I think that then you realize still today, and you know what? They know it. And they sit around and have days and days of discussion based on something that was made up. You know, they got a racket going that their sources are confidential. Reporters never have to reveal their sources. So they don't have sources. They just claim to have sources. Who in Trump's orbit would be leaking anything to these people? None of them. In fact, that's one of the reasons he has picked these people. Now, I want to tell you guys about Friendly Tire in Margate. I've been a customer there. It's had to be for 20 years now. And, you know, you can get new tires out the door and on the road at Friendly Tire in Margate for as low as $70 a tire. And when I say out the door and on the road, that's the price that Mike's going to quote you on the phone. I'm going to give you his number in a moment. You give him a call. He'll quote you a price over the phone that's out the door and on the road, because Friendly Tire does not charge you to mount the tire. They don't charge you to balance the tire or even dispose of your old tires, okay? It's out the door and on the road. He has all the name brands you know and love: Firestone, Bridgestone, Pirelli, whatever you want, he's got. If you have run flats like I have on one of my cars, incredible deals on run flats. He has thousands of good used tires in stock as well. And unlike other tire places, he also does tire repairs that are very reasonable. And other places don't do tire repairs. He does. So give him a call, Friendly Tire in Margate. When you call, make sure you tell him you heard about him on the Steve Kane Show, because Friendly Mike will take extra good care of you. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. That's 954-977-9445. All right. We'll take our last break of the first hour and be right back. Hey guys, if you are on hold, hang in there. If you'd like to call in, the number's toll free. It's pinned in the chat. Okay. Yeah, she's gaining a lot of weight, AOC. She's drinking. You can see it in her eyes. You can see it in her eyes. If you're on hold, hang in there. Ten seconds. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show. It is Monday, and oh man, so much happening. You know, this obsession that they've turned this pharmaceutical CEO killer, Luigi, into a sex symbol, the left, is just bizarre. You know, there's always been weirdo women that have fallen in love with these serial killers, right? All the serial killers and famous murderers are all married in prison and everything. There's always been some weird, freakish fetish of women like that. But this Luigi thing, they've turned him into a sex symbol. And the only other time I've seen that happen was with the surviving Zarnoff brother from the Boston bombing. They turned him into a sex symbol. Remember, they put him on the cover of Rolling Stone, and they had this picture where he kind of looked like he was posing in this Jim Morrison look, and it's so bizarre what these people do. And this Taylor Lorenz, this is her on CNN talking about this cold-blooded murderer, Luigi, who murdered the pharmaceutical CEO. And the way they act, it's like justifiable homicide.
Hilarious to see these millionaire media pundits on TV clutching their pearls about someone standing a murderer when this is the United States of America. As if we don't lionize criminals, as if we don't have, we don't stand murderers of all sorts, and we give them Netflix shows. There's a huge disconnect between the narratives and angles that sort of mainstream media pushes and what the American public feels. And you see that in moments like this. And I can tell you, I saw the biggest audience growth that I've ever seen, because people were like, oh, some journalist is actually speaking to the anger that we feel.
The women who gather outside court in New York.
So you're going to see women especially that feel like, oh my God, right? Like, here's this man who's revolutionary, who's famous, who's handsome, who's young, who's
oh my goodness,
smart. He's a person that seems this morally good man, which is hard to find.
Now keep in mind, they're talking about Luigi, the pharmaceutical murderer.
Yeah, I just realized women will literally date an assassin before they swipe right on me. That's where we are. I'm sure you wouldn't like to be compared to a Trump supporter, but some of how people cannot understand why people have sympathies for Mangione strikes me as the same as a lot of media not understanding why people support Trump.
I totally agree.
It's because a lot of people are just really, really desperate.
They want somebody to take on the system. They want somebody to tear down these barbaric establishment institutions.
Okay. So, the reason I share that is, this is the danger of the left. And this is what the re-election of Trump saved us from. They believe that Luigi did a public service. That because the guy was the CEO of a pharmaceutical company, he deserved to die. That's how they view things. And the left, it's really a scary thing that's going on. The left believe that if you disagree with them politically or economically, that you deserve to die. And, when there's certain things that it's inappropriate to share. This is one of them in the format that CNN did. Okay. Now notice they're comparing these lunatics that are supporting this murderer to Trump supporters, right? I know I don't see the connection. I don't see any similarities at all, and I don't think they do either. They're just saying that to try to make excuses for their support of this murderer. But I'm sharing it, but I'm putting it in a proper light that the Democrats believe people who disagree with them should be dead. I mean, that's it. That's it. CNN is presenting this as almost like a romance, and that it's cute. And there was even like the dating app reference that the guy made, and she's laughing and he's laughing, and they think it's cute and everything else. It's not cute. It's not funny. And these are incredibly dangerous people. And these were the people that had been running the country for the last 4 years and almost were running it again. And if Trump would not have won re-election, not only would they have been running it, they may have been running it for the next 20 years or so. It's important to point out how the liberals view those who disagree with them. And they'll tell you that they're the tolerant ones, that we're the ones that are consumed with hate. They're the ones that are firebombing Tesla dealerships because they don't like Elon Musk. They're the ones that are vandalizing Teslas in parking lots and harassing drivers on the road because they don't like Elon Musk. And they actually, believe that these people are deserving of the hate. In my neighborhood, there's a lot of Cybertrucks. I don't know why. There's a lot of Cybertrucks in my neighborhood. But I've noticed in the last couple of weeks, I don't see as many of them on the road as I used to. I used to see them on the road constantly. Now, my guess is, now I'm talking about Cybertrucks, not Teslas in general, because a lot of people have the sedans, the cars. But most people that have Cybertrucks, it's not their only vehicle. They got another vehicle. And I think the reason I'm seeing so few, I still see Cybertrucks, but not as many as I did driving around the neighborhood. And I think people are leaving their Cybertrucks parked at home. They're afraid to drive them, because, you go and you park your Cybertruck and you run into Publix, you come out, it could be vandalized. Or you and your family could be harassed driving down the road. It's not safe. And people are leaving them at home. What's happened to the left? What's happened to the left? That now this hatred isn't new. What's new about it with the liberals is they've come out of the closet about it. They used to hide their evilness because they realized, hey, listen, we feel this way, but, we can't let it be known. Now they're not even hiding it. They're openly not only violent, but defending violence. In this god-awful incident that happened in Pennsylvania with the governor, notice how all of us on the right immediately are discounting that violence and saying, no, we do not support violence. This guy should go to prison for life. Maybe he should face the death penalty for doing it, if they have a death penalty in Pennsylvania. But you won't see the liberals doing that with the violence against Tesla drivers or the Tesla dealers, because they think it is justifiable, that they are so right. And, the liberal arrogance on these things, the way it used to be, and they used to feel, the Democrats, I remember this was like during the Bush era, right? The G.W. Bush era. They used to feel as if everything they did was justified because they represented the people. And if you represent the people, well, you're justified to do anything you want in the name of the people. Well, now we're finding what? That they are a minority. The majority of the people are MAGA. And you're seeing in the main, I've got a story coming up in the next hour from CNN that shares this, but I'm seeing a lot of these man-in-the-street interviews that are being done by mainstream media outlets asking people just walking down the street about the tariffs. And most everyone they interview on the street agrees with Trump. And these are random, and it's done by mainstream media outlets. So the left, they've lost touch with the pulse of the majority of the American people, and they are without question the minority now. They don't realize it, and they're twisted, like this clip I played of Taylor Lorenz talking about Luigi. She's obviously psychotic. She really is truly psychotic. To sit around and laugh about a murderer like that, it's crazy what they're doing. And what they're doing is, when the school shootings, there were a lot of school shootings, not so many these days, but there were a lot a while back, and there was a lot of talk, and I think there was truth to this, that after Columbine, these school shooters, even if they didn't survive, were put up on these celebrity pedestals, and that inspired a lot of these lunatics to do what it was they were doing because they wanted to be famous. Well, what do you think they're doing when they are making a sex symbol out of Luigi? What do you think that does? What do you think they do when they excuse these firebombings and attack on Tesla drivers that we see all over? What do you think they're doing? They are inciting violence. They're encouraging others to be that way. That's the reality. Now, if you're on hold, hang in there. I know I've been going on and on, but in the next hour, I'll go back to the phones. If you'd like to call in, please do. The number's toll free, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. Now, I want to remind you guys, if you want to join us on our next cruise, which is next year, I'm going to give you Ian from Cruise and Travel Depot's number. Call and make your reservation. We have, it's 2019 pricing. We have pre-pandemic pricing on this next cruise. We're going to Antigua and some other locations, and the pricing is, I mean, think about it. It's a 2026 cruise, and you're paying 2019 prices. So that's amazing. Yeah, I know. We set this cruise up really early. We were able to get a really low price and negotiate a good deal with the cruise line. And if you've joined us on our previous cruises, you know what a great time is had. And if you've never been on one of our cruises, this is the time, because this is not only great destinations, great group, but great pricing. Give Ian at Cruise and Travel Depot a call and lock in your 2019 pricing on our 2026 MAGA cruise. 561-244-5779. 561-244-5779. You'll have a great time. I started editing the video that I'm going to upload on YouTube from our cruise we just got back from last week. I've just been so busy this last week, I haven't had time to get to it. Now I'll have it online in a few days, but we're going to have a great time on this one. I've never been to Antigua. I've wanted to go, and when we got this pricing on it, I was really blown away. And Ian will give you the exact price when you call. The pricing varies based on what cabin you get and everything else, and there's so many different cabin categories, but this is 2019 pricing. 561-244-5779. 561-244-5779. And I look forward to seeing all of you on our next MAGA cruise. All right, now 1 hour down. We've got 2 to go. I'll go back to the phones after the break. Those of you who want to hold, hang in there. Our number's toll free, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you are listening. You're welcome to call in about anything I brought up so far, and I've only just scratched the surface because there's been a lot of big news that's been going on over the weekend. And I'll tell you one thing, I'm tired of them calling this illegal from El Salvador, this MS-13 guy. What do they call him? The Maryland man? He's an MS-13 guy who's in the country illegally, okay? I know he's got an anchor wife or something, but he's not a Maryland man. He's an illegal MS-13 member from El Salvador who's been in the country illegally. But they call him, even on Fox, they keep calling him the Maryland man. Come on, give me a break. That's the kind of propaganda I've been talking about. All right, we'll take our break for the top, come back with your calls and much more. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. I'm Brian Craig, back right after this. If you're on hold, hang in there, guys. We'll be back in about a minute. Innocent? How is he innocent if he's in the country illegally? That doesn't sound innocent to me. Well, if I'm so wrong, call me. I'm going to go to the phones when we get back. Welcome back, everyone. Hour number 2 has begun. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. On the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. My name is Brian Craig. Our number 1-888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, Jesus. Hello.
Oh, please. Can you speak up? I know.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. I don't know if I want to, but I can hear you. Could you? Here where it's Easter week, and I would like to ask you not to take the Lord's name in vain, if you don't mind.
Oh, my apologies. Atheist.
All right. Why'd you call?
I really meant,
Speak up.
I don't mean anything by it.
Speak up.
Wow.
Well, it's hard to hear you.
How about now? Am I good now?
Well, you're better.
Is that better?
All right, you're better.
All right. Well, my name's William. I'm from Oregon. I heard you say that the only topics I could mention is what you'd mentioned before. I'm interested in what some of those might be. I haven't been watching your live stream for too long.
Well, I'm not going to run by you a bunch of stories until one catches your fancy. You listen to the program, you hear something.
Give me one.
No, you listen to the program, hear something you take issue with, and then call me back. I'm not going to run stories by you until you. What am I doing? A pitch meeting to the editor of a newspaper?
I think we may have gotten off on a little bit of the wrong foot, my friend. I'm sure you've had many topics on your show, but in the past 10 minutes that I've been, I saw you posted an hour and a half long video about how Jill Biden was flirting with Donald Trump. Why don't we talk about that?
What? That Jill Biden was doing what?
Jill Biden, Joe Biden's wife, the first lady.
Now, the former first lady. The first lady is Melania Trump.
That's true. That's very true, my friend. So why don't you tell me about that? I'm interested.
Tell you about what? I'm confused what you're talking about.
Your video, you posted an hour and a half long. I'm sorry. I've only just become familiar with your channel. I haven't had time to delve through.
Well, the Bidens. I mean, I don't know. I post. Listen, I have thousands of shows online. Okay, and we had 4 years of
Jill Biden flirting with Donald Trump. It had a big yellow circle in the thumbnail.
I don't remember that one.
Video. You plugged some roofing company in the.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you how this is going to work. I'm going to hang up on you because you've got nothing to say. You
Why? Hold on.
No, not hold on.
That's not very
nice. Watch the show. Tune in, and when you hear me say something that you take issue with, call back. All right. All right. Take care. Oh my goodness. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Conservative Doug.
Oh my goodness, Doug!
It's interesting you brought up these crazy people saying these insane things. I heard a woman online saying that, it's just a political statement. We're wrecking Teslas. We're not hurting anybody. It's a political statement. These people, I don't know, man. They need to be seen by some psychiatrists. These people, man, because they need some drugs or something. Because anybody to say something like that.
Well, first off, this goes back to the days of the horse thieves, okay? You don't mess around with people's cars, and cars are how people get to work and pay their bills and support their families, and they cost a lot of money, and
they cost a lot of money.
My wife and I, we got a new car a few months ago. Our car before that, some punk idiot kid took an Instagram picture, and he did it. He sat on our car and dented the hood, so I had to get a new hood, on the car, and insurance covered it. I had to pay a $500 deductible. I go in the trade it, and I got dinged big time because it wasn't the factory hood. They couldn't get the dent out of the factory hood because of the way the hood was shaped. You damage someone's car, vandalize it, even if insurance pays for it. You're still you're still hurting that person financially a lot.
Oh, yeah. Just the inconvenience is enough to... But, what these people are doing to the Tesla, burning them down, and not only just one, the whole group of them, these people are sick to do stuff like that. It's not a political statement. It's certainly just evil coming out of them. But this is the kind of society we have today, man. There's always a few who want to wreck everything.
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear Mark Levin last night saying how great President Trump is compared to the other presidents who all have done all kinds of things, like putting
well, that's true.
The Japanese people, family friends. Man, I never thought he was such a supporter of President Trump. I think he finally totally came around.
What, Mark Levin? No, Mark Levin used to be a never Trumper. Then he was with never trust a never Trumper. But he's smart enough to know that you better get on the Trump train. Yeah. All right, Doug. You have almost as much material as that first caller. Oh my goodness. I love these. I love these millennials and Gen Zs. They always want you to try to cater to them. Like that idiot that took the Lord's name in vain on Easter week. I mean, my goodness. What you have is a very self-centered generation. Now, last week I was talking about we had a few things happen, right? This lady Space Force colonel was fired from her command of the Greenland base, which I understand is our only base in all of Greenland. And if you've noticed, Pete Hegseth, because she was attacking the president and the vice president's position on Denmark, right? And if you've noticed, Pete Hegseth, they've gotten rid of a lot of these woke DEI officers. Well, there's a new one in the mix. Have you heard about the lady colonel of Fort McCoy, which is in Wisconsin? And she's another overweight Army officer. And, listen, I don't want you guys to think because I've lost all this weight that all of a sudden I'm against people that are not, I'm not. But in the military, they have physical standards, right? And ever since Vindman came out, overweight in his uniform, I've just seen a never-ending line of military personnel that are not in physical condition. And I thought there were regulations. I used to hear about guys getting court-martialed because they got sunburns and they couldn't perform their duties. Why are there so many overweight officers in the military? It's definitely DEI, but this woman is in some trouble because she took a photograph in front of all the photos of her chain of command, and guess who's not in it? The president. In fact, where the president is blank, and she doesn't have Pete Hegseth up there either. And there's an investigation going on. Her name is Colonel Ramirez. And let me read this story. This is in, let's see, where is this? This is in timesnownews.com, but this story is going viral all over the internet. A viral photo from Fort McCoy shows missing portraits of President Donald Trump and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, which has sparked online backlash. Social media users allege that Colonel Ramirez, she's a lady colonel, deliberately and refused to display the photos, defying standard protocol followed across U.S. bases. And they have the photo. She doesn't have the president or Pete Hegseth. Okay, a photo of Fort McCoy, the U.S. Army base in Wisconsin, has gone viral on social media, in which the portrait of President Donald Trump and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth are missing. Yeah, I know. Since it's the standard protocol for all U.S. Army bases to display photos of the POTUS and the Defense Secretary at all important locations, social media has erupted with the viral photo, alleging that the Fort McCoy's colonel refused to hang the photo. And at this point, the idea that they don't have them, well, that's just not something that you can accept. And there's a third one missing, too. I don't know who the third person is. It could be the Army secretary. But she could print them up online and put them up there. She's, you know, what we're finding, like with this lady Space Force colonel that was fired the other day from Greenland, okay? We have social justice warriors in the United States military that hold high ranks, colonel and above. And I'm glad when these incidents happen and they get found out and they get purged. They get fired. Now, like when this woman got fired from the base in Greenland, does that mean she's out of the Space Force, or is she just relieved of command? Will she be court-martialed? I don't know what the aftermath will be. When you're fired from your command, what does that mean? Are you out of the service? I can't imagine you're much good to the service. And at this point, I find it hard to believe that this woman did not purposely not hang the photographs. You know, and firing these people's not enough. They need to be fired, but they also need to be court-martialed. And she posed with this photo. I think she knew exactly what she was doing. And this other thing, they should be tried. They should be court-martialed, because what these are acts of defiance against the Commander-in-Chief of the United States. You know, she's not in some faraway outpost. Even if she was, she could print out the photographs online and put them up there until she got the official portrait. So this whole thing that they don't have the portraits is just, that's BS, okay, in this day and age. But they are making statements. And like Taylor Lorenz, I was talking about in the last hour, these social justice warriors on the left feel they're so right, they're entitled to behave this way. Now, those of you on hold, you hang in there. We'll take our first break of the second hour. My name's Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. We'll be right back.
Will you win?
I'll go back to the calls when we get back. Welcome. If you're new, make sure that you subscribe. You have no freedom of speech in the military. You give up that right when you enlist. Mm-hmm. That is true. We'll be back in 1 minute. Welcome. If you're new, welcome. Michael D. just subscribed. Welcome. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. Callers on hold. Stand by. I have lost so much weight thanks to Coastal Weight Loss Secret. And, I stopped weighing myself a couple weeks back. And I'm just going now by the changes I'm seeing in my body. And this morning, when I got out of the shower, and, I got the mirror in the bathroom, and it's a miracle that's happened. My torso looks like it did when I was like 20 years old. And, I never thought I'd be able to, I'm going to be 54 on Sunday. And I never thought I would be able to lose that stomach that you get as you get older. It's just kind of something that you accept as guys as you get older. It's gone. And not only do I have a flat stomach, and remember, I've done zero exercise, okay? And I'm eating foods that I like, foods I enjoy, things I would normally eat. I am not taking any medication. I'm not taking Ozempic. The only thing I'm exercising is my mouth when I'm on the air. And I've lost all this weight. But not only do I have a completely flat stomach, my whole torso looks like when I was 20, 21 years old. I'm starting to get definition that's just naturally occurring. It is absolutely amazing. I'm going to give you the number to Coastal Weight Loss Secret. It's beautiful. I was on over the weekend. I've been talking about how my clothes aren't fitting me, and I haven't gone out to buy a new wardrobe yet because I haven't decided if I'm going to maintain or keep losing. And I keep clothes for a long, long time. I mean, I have the shirt that I wore on my first date with my wife, and this year will be our 29th wedding anniversary. I reached in the back of my closet over the weekend, and I was wearing jeans from the 90s, and they were fitting perfect. And I know they were from the 90s because remember how everything in the 90s was baggy? There were those baggy jeans that people used to wear. If you go back and watch reruns of Melrose Place or something, that's how I was dressed. It was like grunge was back. My old grunge clothes fit me like they did when I was in my 20s. Give Coastal Weight Loss Secret a call. When you call, make sure you tell them you heard about them on the True Oldies channel. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. That's 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightlosssecret.com. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, sir. Chris from Pompano Beach. How's your Monday so far?
It's going great, man.
I just wanted to chime in because, I was in the Marine Corps for 6 years back in the 80s. And, there's very specific, bulletins, guidelines. And, this woke crowd, of course, liberals have been toying with the military for, a few years now. And I knew it was going to be a disaster when Barack took away the don't ask, don't tell. But this whole business about, again, weight control, military appearance, you're absolutely right. We're very strict. If you dropped out of any of our weekly runs, you were put on, remedial and had extra running to do that. And then if you were within the weight guidelines, but your military appearance was off, you still had to deal with it, or there was discipline. So, we
I'm just seeing a lot of these. It's with the officers that I'm noticing with the most. They're overweight.
And you won't find that in the Marine Corps. I mean, our commanding officer he'd run circles around us. I mean, we would do half marathons once a month. The rest of the runs were between 3 and 5 miles that we do twice a week. But, that's absurd. And I know the Army and Air Force, Navy has less standards than we do. But
oh, come on.
Even in their branches, it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way. So it's across the board. And then you're right, as far as the discipline, yes, first you lose command. And then, of course, reaching into why you had to lose that command. It doesn't help your resume, in other words. They may not be fired, but their careers are on the downturn.
Well, they don't get promoted again. They don't get, if they stay in, they don't get promoted again. And a lot of times I've seen officers like the captain of the USS Cole was fired because he was in command when his ship was attacked. Things like that happen. I remember there was a submarine captain who came up and hit a ship that was above him, right, years ago. He got fired. But what's happening now is we have these social justice warriors in the service. This lady colonel in Space Force in Greenland, now this lady colonel in Wisconsin, and they are defying the commander-in-chief, and they're doing it very openly. And when you join the service, you give up a lot of your civil liberties, including your First Amendment right to free speech and expression.
No, absolutely, and that's why you have these, of course, during those liberal administrations, they're doing it on purpose, and they're trying to change the culture, and it's just not right, and they're hurting us. That's why, again, got to make America great again. They weaken every aspect of our country, and all their people are doing is thriving on the, how can we say, the emotions.
Mm-hmm.
But
all right.
They need this country as strong as ever.
Well, it's good to hear from you. Take care. Appreciate the call. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Brian from Philly. How you doing?
All right, Brian in Philly.
How you doing? So I just had a question for you. We were talking about that
ready,
subject
Mike.
a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And, so what do you think of that guy from Maryland?
What guy from Maryland?
The guy from Maryland, the one on the news, the guy from Maryland.
Well, he's not really from Maryland. He's an illegal from El Salvador who's a member of MS-13 who's been illegally residing in Maryland.
So you're fine with him getting sent to the gulag they got down in El Salvador?
Yeah. He's
So by the way, I do got a follow up if you don't mind.
Well, why do you think a guy who's with MS-13, which is like ISIS, who's in the country illegally, why should he just be allowed to be here still?
Well, can I answer my follow up because it kind of answers your question?
You're gonna ask a follow up question and answer your own question. Oh, this should be good.
No, answer your question.
Go ahead.
With my follow up. What do you think of the Fifth Amendment?
What about it?
Are you in favor of the Fifth Amendment?
I'm in favor of all the amendments to the Constitution.
So they didn't give the Maryland guy a trial. They just sent him there. They didn't give him no trial.
No, he was...
They don't know whether he was a member of MS-13. They just sent him to El Salvador.
He was ordered deported years ago, and he didn't. I think in 2019, if I remember correctly.
Well, I don't know about that.
Well, that's your problem. You don't know. If you were informed...
Yeah, well, nobody knows.
No, I know.
Trial. That's
I know.
My problem.
I know. I know because I'm following the story.
It's a thought experiment,
What?
I think you're a member of MS-13, Brian.
I'm a member of, really?
I got a lot of evidence here that
you're
a member of MS-13. I got a lot of people are saying, okay? Top people
are there
a
lot really a top people? Yeah.
I think that you
a lot of white guys in MS-13? A lot of white Americans?
Oh, yeah, no, there's a lot of white guys in MS-13. I mean, Brian, did you know that secretly your name is Brian L. Craigliano? I have evidence that says that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have evidence that you're a terminal caller with nothing to say. Oh, my goodness. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? All right. Once, twice. All right. You missed your chance. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. It's Ben from Pompano.
Hey, Ben.
Hey, that last guy was a complete moron. I mean, I don't understand people bending over backwards trying to defend, like, not only illegals who shouldn't be here, who are doing things that are taking more from our country than returning, like either committing crimes or, taking advantage of the welfare system, but, like, dangerous criminals. Like, this shouldn't even be a debate. This last guy, I don't even know, like, what is his stance? Like, he just thinks anyone who is here illegally should just
this is their thing. They keep talking about due process. With them, the due process never ends. They just keep judge shopping around and around and around, and then in 4 years, Trump won't be president. The guy was ordered to leave the country in 2019. He is not a Maryland man. He is an illegal from El Salvador who's a member of MS-13. And he was ordered...
These illegals...
Yeah.
These illegals go through innumerable legal processes, and you know what they do? They ignore the letters. They get sent letter after letter after letter for years saying, this is your review check-in. This is your update. And all they have to do is ignore them because they know they don't have the resources to go after them.
Wow.
And so it's not like they're not engaging in a legal process. And by the way, he's talking about an amendment system that applies towards citizens. Like, are we
now the Constitution? The Constitution applies to everyone inside the United States. If you're a tourist, you have constitutional protections.
Well, the visa holders, for instance, like we're removing them, and some could argue, oh well, it's violating their free speech, the government. But it's like no, they're here as visitors first. It's not like hey, we can't break like Geneva Convention or mistreat them. But if there are circumstances in which they violate the terms in which they're allowed to be here, then guess what? They get treated differently because they're not citizens. It's not like we can, for instance, if I did what this guy did and I was a gang member, it would be a whole different process.
And shame on, I got to tell you, shame on Fox News. I was very disappointed to hear Fox News continue to refer to this guy as the Maryland man. Yeah, it's so bizarre.
You should have seen ABC's headline. ABC headline was, man who's been here since 4 years old deported.
So
and
what?
And underneath it said, oh yeah, he killed someone, by the way.
Oh, well.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the last guy, he just sounds like a moron. He sounds so, like this wasn't controversial. Even when Bill Clinton was in office, we were talking about, hey, if you weren't invited here and you kind of broke in and you're doing your own thing and we don't know about it, guess what? It's like if I go to New Zealand and I just get off and I say I deserve to be here. I've contributed to the community. That's not for me to decide. It's not for people to decide after breaking in to our country if whether or not we should deem them should be here or not. That's not your decision. If that idiot who just called in, I started going into his house, helping myself to his probably his fridge and watching.
See, MS-13 is like ISIS. I know they don't seem as bad as they used to because this Tren de Agua gang, they're so bad, okay? But MS-13 is pretty bad. I mean, it's as bad as it gets. They are like ISIS and Al Qaeda.
I know. Oh yeah, they're absolute. Their one language is brutality.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? The reason that the people are it's so frustrating to hear people living in the nice luxury of the United States where they have a sense of security. They don't understand what Bukele is doing in El Salvador. You actually have to instill more fear in these people than they're capable.
And I'll tell you another thing.
That's
they keep showing I've seen several times they talk about the Maryland man deported to the prison, and they keep showing the photograph of one of the prisoners hunched forward. Is that even him? Or is that just some file photo that they're trying to propagandize and say, look at how he's being treated, this Maryland man?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They do that all the time because they're not technically...
They don't have a photograph of him in that prison like that. That's total false news.
Oh, I know. They do that all the time. They do that in wartime photos. They'll have like a picture of some kid crying in Syria, years ago, and then they'll use it in like a Palestinian.
All right, listen, I gotta run, but good call, Ben. Sure. Take care. If you're on hold, hang in there. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. My name's Brian Craig. We'll be right back. Hey. Okay, what's going on? Okay, all right, well, hold on. I want to put you on hold for a minute, then I'll pick you up. Hold on. All right, Steve, you there? Steve? Steve, you there? Steve, are you there? Hello? Hello? Mm-hmm. Unbelievable. Hello? Hello? Are you there? Yeah, hold on. Okay, Steve, you there? You there, Steve?
I'm here.
All right, hold on.
Yes.
Stand by. Okay, we are back. I'm Brian. Steve Kane is here. Callers on hold. Stand by. Our number is 888-465-2631.
Am I back?
We're back, Steve.
All right. How exciting. Good
Yes.
morning. How are you doing?
Doing okay. Been talking to some strange individuals this morning, but that's okay.
So what's new?
Yeah, well...
I've got all kinds of questions for you.
Oh.
I've been up all night.
Okay.
There's a lot going on, and I need you to answer some questions for me. You're my main source of information. You and my producer, Lori Kay, the famous Lori Kay.
Yeah.
A weekend of panic.
What
does the market look like this morning at the opening?
Oh, I haven't looked. It doesn't open for a couple hours, but I haven't looked.
I understand, but usually at this point, with all the volatility, there should be a sign.
Well, I don't,
it's going to open up or
all
down.
all these people are becoming day traders. Apparently, I have no idea what. I don't follow the market.
It's the situation. I mean, that's what's going on.
I don't know. I don't know what the market looks like. Right now it's up. But these are the futures, okay? It's up 619 points right now.
That's what I'm looking for.
It's up 619 points as of now.
All right, so it's going to be a positive opening.
I don't know.
Big.
Yeah.
Because that's going to determine a lot of the programming today.
Nah.
Depending on how the market is, that's going to be every day.
If it's up, it won't be in the news. If it's down, that's all they'll talk about.
Well, I think I would guess it would be in the news.
But the Dow's up over 600 points on the futures.
Well, that's good, and that shows that it's probably going to be a positive opening.
Yeah. Yeah. You feel better now?
The big thing now that's going on is the next order of business is we got to get our budget through.
Oh, we got that. We got the budget last week. The budget passed.
Well, no, I don't think so.
The next thing is the tax bill.
We still got. It has to be coordinated with the House and Senate, right?
Nope. The budget's done. They did the budget already. The budget's done. They got that last week. What they're working on next is the tax bill. The one they keep calling it the big beautiful bill. That'll be next.
Okay,
no, but we got the budget through.
Okay.
So the stock market's doing well. We got the budget passed. Any other concerns?
Well, no, I mean, you've made me feel a lot better.
No.
The market, I mean, I called you in a panic over the weekend. The market was down 1,000 points.
Well, it's not even open
we
yet.
We just got to get used to
that. The market's going to be fine. Who follows the market day to day? Lunatic day traders. You don't hear about day traders anymore.
It's been going on for the last 2 weeks.
Nah.
The market's been a big part of the programming.
We've been hearing, because the media want to hurt Trump. I haven't heard about day traders in years, right? Day traders, they all went broke. People stopped day trading. People stopped talking about day trading. The day traders became crypto people mostly. But now all of a sudden, all the media are day traders, and all they talk about is the stock market every 6 seconds. Give me a break. There's nothing to worry. Everything's going well.
That makes it the new. Well, you're the calm one. I mean, everybody else is pretty nervous about it.
I don't think everyone else is nervous. I think the media are nervous.
Let me ask you a question. This you may be able to answer for me.
I've answered the others.
Well, you're doing fine so far. So far, you're 1 for 1, which is good. My next question has to do with taking the money that they've uncovered for fraud and abuse. Are they going to have access to that to fill in the holes that they're missing in terms of our income?
Well, I don't know what you mean by that. What income? I don't understand what you're talking about.
Well, I mean, in other words, they got to balance all these needs they're worried about that the Democrats are exploiting to say that...
Well, what we found from... One of the things we found out from Doge is that the United States government only has one bank account, right? There's no Social Security lockbox. There's no account for... There's one big bank account. So
with the one big bank account
has more.
The money is the fraud money they uncovered retrievable at this point.
I haven't heard them talk about being able to figure out where any of it went. They keep telling
that's a big difference.
Yeah, we'll just have to settle that they'll stop, sending the checks out, which they've done.
All right, well, if anybody else out there has any of the answers, let me know.
All right, you want to take any calls?
Yeah, by the way, did you hear about, I was watching a lot of Fox over the weekend. Did you hear about this Sharia community in Texas?
Mm-mm.
You haven't heard that story?
No, what about it?
They're building a major community in Texas, limiting it just to religious, hostile Muslims.
Is it a prison?
There's a big thing going on with it.
Is it a prison or like a community where you buy homes?
It's a bedroom community.
Oh my goodness.
Limited to only the Muslims.
Well, that sounds like that would be discrimination. That's not allowed in America. That's religious discrimination.
I think it's going on as we speak.
Well, that would be illegal.
I heard about it on Mark Levin last night.
Oh, it doesn't surprise me. Doesn't surprise me.
If anybody knows anything about it, we'd like any information they have on that.
Okay. All right. Now, if you're on hold, hang in there. Here it is Monday. If you're waking up this Monday aching and in pain because you're a little too active over the weekend, go see Dr. Appleton. With Dr. Appleton, his laser wave pain treatment works. It works on every type of pain I've heard of. I have met... I can't even keep track of all the listeners I've met that are like me, living without pain thanks to Dr. Appleton and his laser away pain treatment. You know, his laser away pain treatment, what it does is it repairs the damage that's causing you the pain. That's why when he rids you of pain, it doesn't return. He's rid me of pain 7 times. I was telling you guys last week, one of our cruisers, Gary, had arthritis in his neck. It's now gone. It's amazing. Thanks to Dr. Appleton and his laser away pain treatment. You know, with the laser away pain treatment, there's no shots, no injections, no drugs, no surgery, no downtime. It's 100% painless, and it works. That's the best part. It works. Give Dr. Appleton a call. Now, remember, appointments are not necessary, and walk-ins are always welcome because Dr. Appleton knows when you're in pain, you need help, and you need relief now. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. That's 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. All right, we'll take our break and be right back. All right. You there, Steve?
Yes, I am.
All right. Hold on. All right. You there, Steve?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. Hold on. Okay, we'll be back in 1 minute.
Okay.
Welcome back, everyone. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. I'm Brian Craig. Steve Kane is here. Call us on hold, stand by. Now, I just found out that lunatic that called before the bottom of the hour. You didn't catch that guy. He said his name was Brian from Philadelphia.
I heard the call.
Okay. Well, I found out who he really is. I thought his blathering sounded familiar. He's that lunatic that a few months ago confronted Tom Laporta from Laporta Contracting and Roofing at a restaurant about me. And was using all kinds of...
I remember that.
Yeah, that was that guy. He's...
Was it Wings Plus?
No, it wasn't Wings Plus. It was an Italian restaurant in Boca. And Tom Laporta was just there on the weekend with his wife having a meal. And he had his Laporta roofing shirt on. And that liberal lunatic saw the shirt and just got triggered and just went off about me to Tom Laporta. And that was him that called in. You should identify yourself as the lunatic that confronted Tom Laporta from Laporta Roofing next time you call so I can pay you your proper respect. Okay, let's, you want to take some calls?
By the way,
yeah.
Yes, I do, but I want to put out a call to our audience. Anybody that saw Mark Levin show last night, does the name Plano, Texas mean anything to you?
Plano, Texas?
I think that's where this community, this Islamic community, is being built.
Oh.
And it's a frightening story.
Yeah.
If anybody out there heard this on Fox last night, give us a call with what you remember.
Okay, sounds good. All right, let's go to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Steve. Good morning, Brian.
Richie. What's up, Richie?
Richie, how are you?
Steve on the phone.
What I'm talking about?
Well,
have you heard that?
Yeah, I'm not. I'm going to say something, and Brian's going to hate me because he's thin-skinned, and I'm going to say it the way it is. When you were in your prime time, Steve, you were a great program director, and you had the pulse of the people. You used to know the topics that you wanted to talk about. It seems to me that Brian throws out 19 topics and all trivial crap when we have probably the stock market and all this is secondary to now. As far as I'm concerned, maybe I'm wrong here, but President Trump and Brian always said you have to trust.
Well, I'm sorry. Richie. I'm sorry that I didn't get the approved list of topics from you today. What is the topic I should be talking about?
You should be talking about that overseas overdoes everything here, that President Trump, and then you're going to say, well, I trust Trump with everything. I don't. I think that his friendship with Steve Weisskopf, or whatever his name, the guy that
Richie, I'm confused. What is the topic that I didn't discuss that you think is the topic of the day?
The Iranian nuclear.
Oh, the Iranian nuclear deal. Okay, all right. Let's hear. Okay, let's hear you. Let's hear you talk. Okay, hold on. Share with me everything we should be saying about the Iran nuclear deal that we're not.
Okay, that President Trump. Well, you're going to say you're going to trust Trump. Sent a businessman buddy to negotiate.
Say what he wants to say.
Well, I'm missing I'm missing the interest in the topic. What has happened? That's newsworthy.
He sent an incompetent person to negotiate a nuclear bomb deal with the Iranians. They're ready to get the nuclear bomb within a week or two, and he's getting conned into.
Richie, I'm full of myself, Richie, who who thinks.
I'm not full of you.
Yeah, you are. You think this is you think that this is your personal show where if we don't talk about the thing that you think we should leave
about the penis rocket when we're ready to have a nuclear problem with the Iranians.
I have been hearing that Iran is 2 weeks away from a nuclear weapon since George W. Bush was president. Okay?
You don't believe that. You don't believe that.
I've been hearing that for 15, 20 years.
You are naive. You are so naive. Huh? Israel, the people in Israel.
Let me ask you this, Richie. President Trump knows the whole deal about where Iran is, correct? More than you and I know. Correct? Trump knows. Hold on. Trump knows more than we do. He gets the intelligence reports. He knows where they are so far as the progress of their weapon, correct? More so than you and I, right?
Yes, that's correct.
But what about Whitcup?
Okay. So if Iran was really what does 2 weeks away from a nuclear weapon mean, Richie? What does that even mean?
2 weeks away from a delivery system where they get the bomb and we're sitting there saying, now what?
So if Iran were really 2 weeks away from having an operational nuclear device, you don't think Trump and Israel would take it out?
I'm saying this to you. President Trump said we're 2 weeks, 3 weeks away. Yeah, he said the president of the United States said they're within weeks.
No. If weeks, well, weeks is not 2 weeks. If they were if they're 2 weeks away from having a deliverable device, that means they've already got the bomb. They've already got it.
Guys, hold on one second, both of you for a second. I think it's safe to assume that Trump knows more about the facts of what's going on than either of us do.
Exactly.
But I personally don't think. I believe that he's got more competent people in his cabinet. People like Rubio instead of Whitcup, a businessman buddy negotiating at a naivete.
From everybody.
See, Richie. This is why we're not. Why do you think we haven't been talking about the Iran nuclear weapon today?
Because you wanted to talk about the penis rocket.
I made a reference. I made a reference
in the service being fat.
Yes.
That's why.
Oh, that's
and
now we know what upset Richie. I said a negative thing about an obese person. Okay, I'm sorry. That hit close to home for you, obviously.
Personal attacks? No,
well, obviously that's a sore spot with you, Richie.
You're a midget.
Oh, that's see there? See there?
Guys,
you're a midget. You're a midget.
Oh my goodness, Richie! Now we know why Richie's upset. No.
How tall are you, Brian?
See now we know.
So give me a break.
Keep saying it.
I never attack your size, but I'm going to do it now because you're always attacking obesity. Because you say I'm overweight.
See, now we know what upset you.
Now what are you going to do about that?
Now we know what upset you. No, nothing. What? I don't care.
No, you're a midget. You're a little man. You're a midget.
Okay.
Your head is bigger than your head.
Okay.
So don't start with my weight.
Well, you're the one that brought it up. You're the one. You're the one that obviously has
a. The obesity.
No, you brought up that I referenced the overweight lady colonel.
And you also, because that's I don't know. I don't get you.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, as far as I'm concerned, you're an excellent talk show host and a terrible program director. I told you that from the very beginning.
Well, Richie, listen.
I don't have my own show. I know.
No. Listen, Richie. So far as the Bezos penis rocket, it was a reference I made. I didn't talk about it extensively and do an hour of discussion on it.
You spent the whole 10 minutes that you started the show on that.
I did not start the show about that. I started the show on something else. That was the second or third topic that I referenced in the first segment. That's it.
Well, that's only an opinion I have. I still love you, but I think you're a terrible program director.
Okay, well, that's okay. No, Richie. See, now we know. He just a little sensitive when I talked about that lady girl.
You'd think that we'd be able to pull together at this time of difficulty, but evidently not.
No, Richie's got some problems. Now, I don't worry about the stock market. I don't even follow it. Okay, and you don't have to either. Call Jupiter Joe Thomas. Talk to him about annuities. Live a stress-free life, not this on the edge of what's the Dow future today. Who needs to live like that? With annuities, your money is never at risk. Never. The stock market could drop 5,000 points today. You're on annuities, your money's safe. And with annuities, you're guaranteed income for the rest of your life. Pretty good deal, huh? And, Joe Thomas offers free phone consultations, which you can take advantage of no matter where you are located. He's going to be in studio tomorrow. It's tax day. What an appropriate day to have Joe Thomas in on tax day. But he'll talk to you. And by the way, you can take advantage of that no-charge phone consultation no matter where you are located in the United States. And he'll talk to you, ask you a few questions, and put together a custom proposal based on you and your situation. Give him a call. His number's 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. That's 561-743-0999. And if you missed the number, just go to his website, JupiterJoe.com, and you'll find it right there, JupiterJoe.com. It's an interesting thing, psychology, Steve. Richie called in, just his anger was out of proportion to the situation, okay? And, and
it touched a nerve with him.
And the overweight, when I referenced that, the overweight lady colonel that won't hang up President Trump's portrait on her base in Wisconsin, the fact that I mentioned the overweightness obviously was triggering to him, and it shouldn't be, because no one knows what he looks like. He's just a caller, but it's obvious, hits close to home. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. Once, twice. All right.
Hello.
Oh,
Hello.
You just made it.
Hello.
You just made it.
Holy crap. Yeah, I had the radio on, chuckling over Richie. Richie, you got so much phone time. I don't know why Brian give you the time of the day sometimes, because I think he was holding that over from last week when probably Greg too made the statement and he was boiling up. But to me, he sounded like a liberal just now, like the other guy talking about the Michigan man. I know that guy was doing something sneaky, trying to change the topic.
IB, there's what's on your mind?
Sir, let's try to restore some order here. What did you call about today?
What I call about it is pretty simple. John Rambo, okay, was a true colonel. Not these they them they have in the military. You know, these people, this little chubby woman, they don't know what the heck they're talking about. Okay. You think about all of the DEI ladies since the fire in California. They had no water in the fire hydrant. The plane that went upside down in Canada, another DEI. The chopper that flew into the plane and the control tower, DEI. Now we have DEI in Greenland running bases. This is what Pete Hegseth said. We want to make our military lethality. Brian, you remember you talked about the flag? What flag they had? If they had the typical flag with the white color on the bottom, I believe it's on the bottom, that's for pedo. Maybe they removed the pedo flag. This all goes back to Rachel Levine, was one of the first one that they test marketed these DEI people and using our tax money through USAID. Barack Obama started this when he wrote a letter to himself fantasizing about having sex with men.
All right, okay. The show's running off the rails here today. I don't know, Steve. We're
just getting good.
Please. Well, we're up against the top of the hour.
Oh, we'll be back.
I'm telling you, I told you there's something strange with the callers today. The callers just are not acting normal. They're just not.
This is not a normal time.
I guess not, because I've been, since 6 a.m., I would say 99% of the calls have just been bizarre. I mean, it's
Can I ask you one thing as we're going off? Because I know you got a break here at the top of the hour. Will you promise me that tomorrow you'll look up about this Muslim community?
Oh, I'm sure it's happening. If Mark Levin reported it,
and you'll give us a quick report.
Well, I don't know what the report would be. It's that they're building a Muslim community.
Go to Mark Levin's. What I would suggest, go to Mark Levin's website after the show's over, and read what you read, and just give us a quick couple words on.
Oh, I'm against it. It's bad. I'll tell you that.
I look forward.
Okay.
When you find out what's going on, you'll really.
Well, listen, we're out of time for the hour. Okay, I'm gonna put you on hold, Steve. We're gonna take our break for the top of the hour. We'll be back with more of your. I don't know if we can call these calls or not. What's happening on the phones today? It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian. Steve Kane's here. We'll be back after this. Steve, you there?
Yes, I am.
All right, hold on. Oh, I just realized during the break why Richie's pissed off. I'll tell you. I'll get back.
Take some calls so we can...
I will.
Are you there?
Yeah, I will. Don't worry.
Because there may be some people trying to get in about this story on Levin.
No, I pulled it up. I pulled up the story.
All right. Great.
I'll go over it in a minute.
Do something on the story when we get back.
I will. All right, hold on. All right, Steve, you there?
Yes, I am.
All right, hold on. 1 minute. Steve, you there?
Yes, I am.
All right, hold on. Welcome back, everyone. The third hour has begun. I'm Brian Craig. Steve Kane is here. Callers on hold, stand by. I got to apologize to Richie, Steve. I was wrong about why Richie was triggered and angry today. I thought that he was triggered and angry because I pointed out that this lady colonel that won't hang up President Trump's photograph, as she's required to do by military regulations, is overweight, you know. And then I realized... I was doing my spot for Coastal Weight Loss Secret earlier, and I was talking about my body. You know, Steve, this morning, and this is what triggered Richie, was all the weight I've lost. And Richie, you can call Coastal Weight Loss Secret too and lose weight. You know, Steve, this morning, if you're on hold, stand by, guys. This morning, I got out of the shower, and I'm standing in front of the mirror, right, brushing my teeth and everything, and my torso... Steve, I have the body that I had when I was 20, 21 years old. I have lost so much weight. And remember, no exercise, no medications. I'm not taking Ozempic or anything. I'm eating foods I like, foods I would normally eat. And I'm doing zero exercise other than running my mouth, okay? And my mouth does get a lot of exercise, but not to burn these kind of calories. And not only is my stomach completely flat, Steve, I'm getting definition. It looks like I've been working out, but I haven't been. I'm getting definition. And I never thought that, 'cause I'm going to be 54 years old on Easter Sunday. I just thought that as you get older, that belly, that's just part of growing older. It's not. And Richie, you too can now may take you a little longer because you have more to lose than me, but you too can lose that belly. Give Coastal Weight Loss Secret a call. When you call, I'm going to give you the number. Make sure you tell them you heard about them on the True Oldies channel. And I got to tell you, Steve, I'm feeling great. You know, I'm wearing pants from the 90s. Because I keep my clothes. You probably do too. I got clothes older than my daughter. And I'm wearing jeans from the 1990s. And I know they're from the 90s because of the style. In the 90s, baggy was in. And these are like my old grunge clothes back during the Pearl Jam Nirvana days. And they fit me perfectly. Give Coastal Weight Loss.
Unbelievable.
It's amazing. And I think that's what's triggered Richie, is that I've got the body that I had when I was 20, 21 years old. Make sure you tell him you heard about...
What's the number?
I'm giving it now. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. That's 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightloss.secret.com. Okay, I pulled up the story on the Texas Muslim community, but let's take a couple calls first, Steve, and then I'll go through that with you.
Well, I'd love to get it in the remaining time. Take my professional judgment as a producer. I think if we got away from Richie's weight and onto this story, I think we'd be better served.
Okay, well, let's take a couple calls, and then I'll go through the story with you after we take a couple calls or two, okay? Because I want to try to get some high... You know, if somebody just tuned into this show for the first time today, and they heard our callers today, I don't know what they would think of this great show. You know what I mean? I don't want the callers of the last 2 hours to be reflective of what this show's about. All right, let's go. Let's see if we can raise the bar. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, good morning. It's Joanne from Tamarack.
Hey, Joanne.
I'm calling in reference to that Texas city.
Yes.
Or whatever you want to call it. Good. I heard about this about a week or two ago. It's about 20 miles south of Dallas. It's called Epic.
Epic.
And they want to use Sharia law. And Governor Abbott said, no way will that be happening. They have not started any building yet, but they're trying to get it going.
They got all the permits going.
Yeah, if you want Sharia law, you got to go to Minnesota with Tim Walz up there. Because I mean,
well, I wonder if they can say freedom of religion.
No.
Well, they're going to say it.
I know they can't say only Muslims can live there, but can they say freedom of religion?
They can say it. It's America. But good luck in Texas. You know what this is about in Texas? It has nothing to do with Muslims. Nothing. What the Democrats have, the Democrats are right about one thing. If we lose Texas, the country's gone, right? Because Texas has so many electoral college votes.
So they didn't pick Texas by accident.
No, it's an attempt to turn Texas blue. That's what it's about. And if they get this community going, they figure they can get hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of Muslims to move to Texas and turn Texas blue.
And they've got a lot of financial backing.
Well, yeah, it's the Muslim world.
Well, Governor Abbott says no way, so hopefully he's right.
Yeah, well, I don't think.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. All right, take care. Thanks for the call. All right, let's try another one. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, Jay from Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Why, I really enjoyed the show a few minutes ago. People not always agreeing with you. They could speak their own mind. You didn't like it, but it happened anyway. But you were talking earlier about the fact that the doctor who does Trump's, what I'm trying to say. I can't.
His personal doctor, yes.
Yes, okay. But the doctor that you say everybody got mad at, that doctor told everybody.
Ronnie Jackson.
That Trump, when he was in office the first time, and he's still fat, he told everybody that Trump weighed 187 pounds. So right then and there, we all knew that you could not trust him. Trump ain't weighed 187 pounds since he was in high school.
Mm.
So how could you trust somebody who would say, as fat as Donald Trump is, that he weighed 187?
Well, I don't remember what his. Excuse me. Excuse me. I don't remember what Ronnie Jackson said Trump weighed.
Oh, you always forget.
But I know I know what he weighs now because it was in the latest report. You know what it is?
What, 300?
224.
Oh my God! You honestly believe that big and fat and tall as Trump is,
listen,
that he weighs 224
the
pounds?
reason that Trump looks heavier, you never Trumpers shot him, and then they tried to do it again. And do you know that in his second term, there have been about 25 violations of restricted airspace over Mar-a-Lago? They had to scramble jets again a couple days ago and give a nose tip on a private airplane. President Trump, when you see him on television, he's not wearing normal clothes. He's wearing a bulletproof vest, and his suits are special suits that also have Teflon in them. Okay, he is wearing. Excuse me. Excuse me.
Okay, let's see it finish.
Let me finish my thought. President Trump, when you see him on television, even the golf course, he's wearing body armor. He's wearing body armor, so he looks bigger than he actually is because he's wearing body armor, because you never know when a never Trumper is going to shoot him again.
He wears body armor around his butt?
Yes.
Come on. That man, when he's on the golf course, he has on a pair of pants.
No.
There's no body armor around
the suits are lined with Kevlar. I said Teflon, I misspoke. The suits are lined with Kevlar. He wears Kevlar-lined clothing.
You can see he has a big fat gut. And they put a big fat gut body armor on him.
He wears body armor, yes.
Now, what sense does that make?
Because the never Trumpers shot him.
Where it fits him. They make him seem like he got a big fat stomach to put the body armor on.
Well, I'm not looking down at that part of the president. You seem to have an obsession.
You don't look at his stomach?
No.
Oh, listen, you know everything about what the man's penis has done. That's how come you tell everybody who he slept with and who he hasn't.
What are you
because
talking
you
about?
Keep track of it.
See, Steve, what I mean about the callers? They're all unglued today.
Can I ask the caller a question?
But you keep track of it.
Do you know anything about this community, this Islamic community in Texas? Are you familiar
No,
with that?
but I noticed earlier that he has a problem with the Muslims who work on the police force in New York.
Yes.
That they're not allowed to because they're Muslims.
That was the first topic I talked about at 6. So you've been listening for over 2 hours. Awesome.
I go back and
I know you go back and forth. I know.
Yes, I do.
know. He goes back and forth.
I want to hear what you had to say.
Yes.
And you don't like Muslims nowhere, I guess.
All right. Thanks for calling.
I'm done.
Oh, you were done before I said hello. Oh, my goodness. He's done. He's trying to do a mic drop. He thinks he's Chris Rock. Oh, my goodness. Steve, if things are going so bad in the trade wars, why are all the liberal callers unglued today? Exactly.
They're unglued every day.
Not like today. Today is a very unusual Monday. It really is.
We're in a very unusual period.
That's
Get used
true.
to it.
All right, listen, I'm going to put you on hold, Steve. We're going to take our first break of the third hour, and we'll be back. Steve, you there? Yeah. Hold on. All right. Are you there, Steve?
Yes, I am.
All right, hold on. Oh, my goodness. Now, we don't screen the calls. No, that's what makes the show a little more interesting. Screening the calls is boring.
Predictable.
It's predictable, yeah. And these lunatics, they cool off. You take them cold, they're still pissed off. Hold on, Steve. The phones are ringing off the hook. Hold on. Okay. Are you there, Steve?
Yes, I am.
All right. Okay. When a caller's ticked off, they're usually not angry at what they tell you they're angry about. There's something else. You just got to get to what it is. I've lost so much weight that I could probably start buying my shirts in the boys department almost. I mean,
Remind me, we got to talk about that off the air.
Yeah. This is amazing. The callers are rude to us first, okay? I am always nice when we take a call. You guys, if you notice. Welcome to the show. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Thanks for your call. You know. Okay, stand by, guys. If you're on hold, hang in there. Welcome back, everyone. It's the Steve Kane Show. Steve Kane is here. I'm Brian Craig. Callers on hold, stand by. Okay, I can go through a little bit of this story on the Muslim community, Steve, because if I don't, we won't get it. If you're on hold, hang in there. This is in the Daily Mail. Okay, they already have a mosque, okay? So this is in the Daily Mail from just a couple days ago, okay? A Texas mosque has sparked controversy over its plans to build a city for Muslims outside of Dallas in an already existing neighborhood. So they want to take over a neighborhood. The Islamic community in Plano is already home to hundreds of, they say, Allah followers, okay? But I guess that means Muslims. and features expensive 2-story homes, a shopping center, and a clinic. The East Plano Islamic Center, or EPIC, intends to break ground on a town for its followers near the city of Josephine, about 40 minutes away from an existing mosque. Epic City is what the project is known as. It would be anchored by a brand new mosque and include 1,000 homes, green spaces, and schools for the people of the Islamic faith. The future of Epic City is in jeopardy, however, after hundreds of locals have fiercely spoken out against the mosque's efforts, storming a public meeting where officials were considering whether or not to grant the permits. And then Abbott's come out against it. So it looks like they've stopped it at the zoning phase. So that's good news.
I wouldn't count on that. Well, if it's true, but I don't trust that.
Yeah, I know. They got a lot of money to bribe local officials, right?
They got a lot of money, and they're very dedicated to the destruction of non-Muslims, and they're very devious.
Well, remember,
So,
this is I just it's
they're
not
religious fanatics.
That's true. But it's not so much about the Muslims. It's the Democrats trying to turn Texas blue. That they've been obsessed with it.
That's not a comforting thought to you, is it?
No. This is just a new way for them to try to do it, right?
Well, but that makes it all the more scary. That's my point.
Yeah, this is probably their best effort. Yeah, because if you've got a community like this, they've got limitless money.
And they are going to try to use the freedom of religion thing, and it's in the hands of an ace lawyer. Of
Yeah,
the
but
Muslim faith.
Texas isn't the same though, Steve. Texas is still the Wild West.
Oh, I agree. You got a rough road to make it happen, but they better do it because there's a lot at stake.
Yeah. Oh,
like
yeah.
The country.
Yeah. If we lost Texas, we'd be in trouble. We really would. They have too many electoral college votes. We cannot lose Texas. We got to do whatever it takes to save Texas. It's very important.
This is just their latest plot.
Yeah.
The first one was registering all the illegal aliens. That didn't work thanks to Donald Trump. Now they're moving on to the next.
Yeah, a new grift.
Right,
the next grift.
attempt, yes.
Yeah. It's always
exactly.
Everything the Democrats do is a grift, and it's never about what it looks like. All right, let me
So
take.
it's certainly worth studying, wouldn't you?
Well,
say?
that's it. That's the whole. We got the whole story now. As of now, it's been stopped at the zoning phase at the local level. So, and Abbott's on it.
I wouldn't use that as a hook.
Well, that's not a hook. That's just the latest news on it. There's no.
Well, I mean, in terms of how we present it to the audience, it's got me scared to death. And if it's got me scared to death, I'm sure there are a lot of other people scared to death about it.
Well, they're not going to turn Texas into the UK. I'm telling you, it's not going to work.
That sounds good.
Yeah. All right, well, let's take some of these calls. Let's see if we can raise the bar again. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Jack from Sarasota. Can I ask Steve a question real quick?
Oh, here we go.
Go ahead.
Hey, Steve, how are you?
Good.
Hey, all right. So, pardon the frog in my throat.
No.
Steve, what do you think about the Supreme Court ruling of how they have to send back this Mr. Garcia and the fact that the administration is not doing anything about it? What's your opinion on that? And how do we resolve it?
I don't know what you're talking about.
He's talking about that MS-13 illegal from El Salvador. Yeah.
Right. What about it?
He's the one that they keep calling the Maryland man.
Can you please let Steve talk?
Well, I'm talking, but I'm asking you to clarify what question I'm answering.
There's a gentleman that was taken, Mr. Garcia, to the El Salvador concentration camp.
Concentration
camp.
camp.
And the Supreme Court ruled that the United States must facilitate his return, and the Trump
That's
administration is not doing anything about it. What is your opinion on that?
Oh, the Trump administration knows about it. It's right on the front burner. They're dealing
Why are
with
they
it.
not?
They are dealing with it. It's a work in progress.
What the caller's premise is wrong, Steve. Okay, with the
That's what I'm trying to tell him.
There was a federal judge who wants daily updates on this MS-13 illegal from El Salvador that they call the Maryland man.
But that's what they're trying to accomplish, but they're not being successful to this point.
The Trump administration said that's not reasonable, and it gives away too much classified intel.
And the judge's decision, this is just one of a myriad of decisions that the courts are starting to fall in line with the president on.
Mm-hmm.
The gentleman's not an MS-13, Brian. He's committed no crime, and he was.
He has committed a crime. He's in the country illegally.
And he belongs to a gang that's a terrorist organization.
Yes, there's two crimes.
He has a green card, and he's not here.
So what? No, excuse me. He was ordered deported in 2019. I don't care that he's got an anchor wife.
You don't have a right to a green card. It's a privilege.
Exactly.
It's not a right. You knew that. Why do you call with such silly questions when you know the answers?
Why does the Supreme Court want the gentleman and the administration not doing anything about it?
They are doing something about it.
Hold on. They said what the court said is the courts asked, did not tell, but it asked them to facilitate it. Whatever that means. Why don't you tell the audience, what does that mean? When they say facilitate, what does that mean?
The Supreme Court, for the most part, ordered the...
What do they mean? When the Supreme Court said facilitate his return, what does that mean? What does that look like?
Facilitate means bring this person back. He's an
innocent
man, Brian.
If they would wanted to say bring this person back, they would have said bring this person back. But they chose not to say that. They chose to say facilitate his return. So they're facilitating it.
Of a constitutional crisis where the President of the United States is knowingly defying the order of the Supreme Court.
He's not defying any order. He's facilitating.
They asked. They didn't order. They asked, and he said no.
That's a big difference.
We're of a constitutional crisis. The president
is not despite the fact they're trying to make it a constitutional crisis, it's not.
Making it a constitutional
They're running up against the same thing you are.
You know, Steve, I've never heard of the court. Since when does the court ask? They asked. They didn't say do this. And who are they to tell the president of the United States how to protect our country?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
You know, has openly said that he wants to deport United States citizens to this place too, where
that's a lie. It's a lie. None of these people are. No, it's a lie. Read my lips. It's a lie.
They're illegals. They're illegals.
Exactly.
Now let me ask you a question, Sarasota. Let me ask you a question. We played your reindeer games. Why do you want to have foreign gang members like MS-13 and Trinidad de Agua in our country?
If you've committed a serious crime, I have no problem with you going to whatever prison. But if you're not a criminal like that, if you're an innocent man, and there are
no, that's not what I asked you. I said, why do you want these gang members in our country?
I don't want anyone who is accused and has their proper due process.
When does the due process end? This is the due process. You're a member of a foreign terrorist organization, MS-13. The president deports you. You're out. That's your process.
That's what the courts decided.
Yes.
All right. If you have committed a violent crime and are a horrible person, yes, you deserve to be thrown in prison and throw away the key. But these people on the
let me ask. You know, Steve and I just came back. Excuse me. Steve and I just came back from our. Excuse me. Steve and I just came back from our cruise. Why did we have to have passports to board that ship?
You're not letting me. You're deflecting, right?
I'm not deflecting. No. We're going around in circles with gobbledygook. Why do we need passports? Why do we need documents?
Brian, you're changing the subject.
No, I'm not changing the subject. We're talking about the same subject. You just don't have the talking points from Rachel Maddow to answer this question.
Brian, I watched Rachel Maddow in God knows how long.
Yeah, well, just like the rest of the country. Thank you for your call. All right, it's time for our bottom of the hour break, and I want to remind everyone that if you've not done this already, you should call Sloman's. Take advantage of this free doorbell camera offer. You know, Sloman's will give you a doorbell camera that connects directly to your cell phone with the installation of your Sloman Shield. But that's not all. Sloman's, they're also going to give you a free customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. They're going to give you an LED touchscreen, a motion detector, 10 contacts, a lifetime warranty, and a backup battery. Plus, you'll receive a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Sloman Shield. Give them a call. This is the easiest number to remember ever. Listen, 1-800-ALARM-ME. 1-800-ALARM-ME. That's 1-800-ALARM-ME. It's the Steve Kane Show. Steve Kane's here. I'm Brian. We'll be right back. Now, guys, I am going to continue the show for a while after 9 o'clock. So after 9, don't go anywhere. I want to end the radio show, but continue here on YouTube, all right? So make sure you hang around for that. Oh, I got to fix the number in the chat there, okay. Steve, you there?
Yes.
All right, hold on. You're all welcome to call in. We'll be back in 1 minute. You there, Steve?
Yes, I am.
All right, 30 seconds. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. Steve Kane is here. Let's take some more of these calls, Steve. They're unglued today. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, gentlemen. Listen, kudos to Ricky. Yes, Steve. And I'd like to talk about that Muslim community, but let's first get to a point. You know, I know you don't listen to this show in its entirety, but Richie was absolutely correct in his assessment. And Brian, he goes to his go-to. He made a comment about his weight. And that's what he does. He attacks people.
But I was right when I decided that it would be better focusing on the Muslim community for the rest of the show rather than somebody's weight.
Right. And there's so many other great topics, important topics. Iran, by the way, Trump has said publicly, and let's see if Brian pays attention to the news, that he would use the military if we don't get the situation with Iran in control quickly. Not in weeks, quickly. Do you remember that, Brian? That we'll use the military.
That's vague.
Iran?
That's a vague time frame. But he said they can have anything they want but a nuclear weapon.
But guess
and
what?
By the way, I don't expect Trump to be revealing secret plans or secret
well, I'm just telling you.
I don't take everything he says literally when I listen to Trump speak. I understand that everybody's part of a negotiation.
Listen, when a president,
I understand
when a president says that I'll use the military in the very near future, we're talking in the near future. If that doesn't capture your attention, that is you guys are lunatic. Well, you know what? It captured my attention. It's very loose, right? And the president.
Greg, let me talk to you like you're a normal person, which is probably a mistake.
I am a normal person.
Okay.
Yeah, you're the abnormal. You're a sexist too.
Okay. This thing about the Iran thing. Okay. There's when Steve and I decide what we're going to talk about. There's a few things that factor into what we're going to talk about. One of them is a hook, something new. There has not been a new development or a hook with the Iran negotiations. Okay, Richie.
Yes,
Richie only. What's the new hook?
The new look is, like he said, he's sending over this Wiscop gentleman who's a businessman, not an international person, and there's nothing getting accomplished. They haven't.
All right, hold on. All right,
I missed the hook.
Let me take.
So you're wrong.
Please, Steve.
Let me take this. Brian, hold on.
Yeah, you got it,
Steve. I want to ask you a question. When you hear Trump get up and make a speech to the television cameras after he has had a meeting with the Iranians or whatever, do you take everything he says in his public statement? Do you take everything at face value, yes or no?
Greg?
You're there.
Oh, is this for me? Oh, listen, I hope he's giving us an accurate depiction. Do I take that?
No,
everything?
no. That's why you're confused.
Well, he lied.
Hold on. Do you not want to know what you're talking about? Let me explain this to you. We're all when Trump has a meeting with the Iranians and all that, what comes out of the meeting, what they announce publicly, is part of the negotiation. Mm-hmm. Do you know that? Is there a yes?
They're not announcing anything about that. No, listen. Do I expect every intimate detail to be announced? No, but if you hear progress...
I didn't ask you that. That wasn't the question. Do you take everything when Donald Trump, he puts on everything he does is practically on television, on Fox. When he makes a statement coming out of the meeting, do you take it literally every word he says in the statement, or do you realize that this is basically you're a player on the chessboard when he comes out and he talks to you and he makes a statement publicly? It's a move on his chessboard. You don't understand that?
Do you understand the chessboard?
Yes or no? Do you understand that or not?
No. Oh, no, I don't, and let me explain why. No.
And that's your problem. Your problem.
Let me ask you a question now, Steve. Let me ask you a question, see if you can actually answer it off the top of your head. Do you think Iran cares about his Fox News interviews?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
Oh, they Fox News, right.
Yeah, they want you.
And Brian loves Fox News. But let's get to Listen, all I know is that Brian attacks people personally. And you know what, Jeff Bezos, what do you think about, did you do this little programming decision, Steve, with Brian, like he just described, to talk about Jeff Bezos having a penis modeled after the ship? Did you think that was a great topic?
It was a throwaway line, done for humor, that you're taking literally for reasons of your own.
And if it's so bad, why are you listening over 2.5 hours later, Greg?
I actually shook my head at
and kept listening. Okay, there you go. Thank you very much.
Okay, yeah. Okay, let's get to the Muslim.
Oh my God.
Okay?
Oh, Steve, he's got another one. He's gonna try.
You know what?
We're gonna hang up.
There's Wile E. Coyote here on the line.
Mark Levin. That's Steve's topic of the day. His topic du jour. Steve is correct. It's a concern for us. But the one thing I think they will not work on, because communities, you could have overage community senior citizens, you could have private golf clubs, but that they're doing by Sharia law, I think that's going to defeat their aspirations. Your thoughts?
Well, we don't know, but I don't trust them enough I've seen enough from them, from the Muslim hierarchy, to know that they don't have the interest of this country at heart, and they've got a lot of money and a lot of lawyers to pay.
They've conquered Europe, so now they're moving to America.
Exactly right. I don't sleep comfortably.
Formidable adversary that's going to stop this. He's a man, one person, not Donald Trump. Who's the one person in Texas?
Why don't you tell me? Why don't you tell me?
Governor Abbott.
Well, how's he going to stop it?
Listen, he's got a mobile that will fight them tooth and nail, and he will stop it. So you know what? Have a little faith.
I didn't realize. Okay, now I feel better. I didn't realize he was going to use the old tooth and nail. Now that I know that's his plan, I feel much better.
Good. Maybe you tonight because you didn't sleep last night.
All right. Well, you made your point. We'll all sleep tight tonight. We'll all say that open their eyes to the tooth and nail.
Oh my goodness! See, something's up with our callers today, man. This is
something in the water.
So yeah, Trump's winning, right? And these guys, they can't handle it. That's the problem. You know? Did you see?
They don't even have a dog in the fight.
Did you see that welcoming?
These Democrats
Did you see that welcoming that Trump got at the UFC on Saturday?
Yes.
Oh my goodness! He walked in like.
It's amazing.
Yeah, he had his grandkids with him. It was amazing.
But
I know.
There's nothing going to be like when they pass the budget and everybody gets all the tax cuts.
Oh, the tax. Oh, yes. I can't wait for that.
It's going to be great.
I can't wait to hear these Democrats argue against the no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security. That's going to be great. I can't wait. They're gonna look good on that one. Yeah. Listen, our number is toll-free 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. But you know what I think has them the most triggered, the left, over everything, is this health. This is what I started with at 6. This positive health report that Trump got. That just has really driven them up the wall. And I was watching some of the Sunday shows, and you could hear it with the callers. Trump was given a clean bill of health, and they can't stand it. I've never heard people get so upset when somebody is in good health before, other than Trump. It's bizarre to me, you know. And they want to try. And we've never had a.
It's larger than that. It's amazing to hear such a large group of people root for the destruction of their country.
Yeah, I know.
This is what Democrats are doing.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, they're on the 20% side of another 80-20 issue.
You know, they keep saying that 80-20. I think these are like 95-5. Some of these issues are just, come on.
It gets the point across. I mean, you don't want to quibble over the exact number.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is Trump sees to it that they're taking the opposing opinion to the public on every issue.
Yeah. And when
there's not one.
And when the doctors come out and give him a clean bill of health, and he aced the cognitive exam, they just can't say, "Oh, great." They want to destroy the doctors. They're having just total fits about it. They're almost having seizures over. And no, I don't remember any other president releasing their health reports like this.
It's bigger than that. They not only want to destroy the doctors, they basically want to destroy the country.
Yes.
Because that's what it's going to take at this point
Yes.
for them to regain power, which is the only effing thing they care about right now anyway.
That's right. Well, listen, we're going to take our last break of the day. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll come back with the gold report and your calls after this. Hey, William, hold on. Steve, you there? Steve? Steve, you there? Hey, hold on. Steve, you there?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, hold on.
Hello?
Yep, hold on. William, you there?
Yes, I am.
Yep, hold on. Yep, hold on, guys. We'll be back shortly.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I got you. Hold on. We'll be back. I got you, Steve. Stand by. 15 seconds. All right, we are back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. Steve is here, and it's time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated with the first gold and precious metals report of the week. William Youngerman, how the metals starting off the week?
Metal starting off a little bit on the downside, giving us a little buying opportunity today, but that's after last week's gains of almost $200 on gold. Last week we saw Friday close out the day at $3,236 the ounce, up $60.80, trading in a range Friday of $32.17 on the low to $32.47. Silver was up $1.08, closing out the week at $32.24, while platinum was up $12 at $9.44, and palladium gained $2 at $9.02. Overnight, we've seen gold run down test the $3,200 number and bounce off of that and get up as high as $32.26 right now. Gold is at $3,207 the ounce. That's down $29. Again, after that was after a $60 gain on Friday. Silver up 9 cents right now at $32.15, or actually down 9 cents at $32.15. Platinum down $1 at $9.43, and palladium up $24 at $9.26. So metals seem to be very firm and building a base maybe around that $3,200 for gold.
Absolutely. Now, William, can you tell people how it works if they can't make it into your shop? Maybe they're out of town, out of state, or they're just in town and can't make it in. How does it work if somebody wants to buy the metals and they can't come in and do everything over the phone?
Yeah, they can just call us, lock in the price, wire the money, or or if they're coming in within an hour or so, that's fine, and we'll hold the metal for them as and it's just that easy.
Yeah, it really is. And you do a lot of business that way. William Youngerman opens up at 10 a.m. If you can stop in, please do. His address is 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca, on the first floor of the Bank of America building, just east of US 1 Federal Highway, on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. His number is 1-800-327-5010. 1-800-327-5010. And find both his address and phone number on his website, WilliamYoungerman.com. All right, William Youngerman, we'll touch base tomorrow.
Okay, have a great day.
All right, take care. All right, we are back. You back with us? All right, let's take some. Yeah, go ahead, Steve.
I wanted to take a moment here. I was thinking over the last hour, the different calls. You know the callers by name. Which one is the guy that said that Abbott was going to fight the Muslim Islamic community tooth and nail?
Oh, that was Greg 2.
Greg 2?
Yeah.
Well, I think we ought to give him a new nickname in honor of that brilliance.
Okay.
I think we ought to call him from here on Mr. Tooth and Nails. Because he had he had the solution to everything. The governor of Texas is going to fight them tooth and nail. That's what's going to stop the Muslim invasion.
How about Tooth and Nail Greg?
Tooth and Nail Greg. Fight him tooth and nail.
Okay. All right. It's more interesting than his content when he calls. All right, let's take some of these calls. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian Eddy from Fort Lauderdale. How are you?
All right.
Hey, I can't get it off my head. Your past couple of callers there, bleeding hearts for this MS-13 illegal guy.
Yes.
You know, I can't help but ask the question to myself: would they be so open-armed to let these guys in their own home and feel secure around their own family?
Yeah.
I bet you not. I bet you not.
Yeah.
And it drives me nuts where they're asking Steve and they're asking you, hey, what do you think about this and what do you think about that? And you guys are giving your answers, and their response is, yeah, but. It's like they just do not want to hear what you guys have to say. It's always their narrative, and that's the way it is.
Yeah, they obviously have no connection to Maryland, so they don't care if he goes back to Maryland.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just wanted to get that off my chest. Thank you for taking my call.
All right, take care.
Have a blessed day.
Take care. I don't even know how to talk to that guy. He's normal. I've been talking to these freaks and weirdos all morning. I get a normal guy on the phone. I don't even know how to respond. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian from Deerfield.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, Brian. Hi, Steve. How are you today?
What's up,
Brian? I was going to say I tell you, a lot going down in Texas. We had a lousy president, and then we had a major problem on our southern border. Then we got a great president, and then we got a stop there. I think Governor Abbott is one of our top 5 governors in the United States, and I think we get a stop here where they want to propose building a city there. The optics of that would be a disaster if you had that in Texas. I mean, having that in Minnesota or San Francisco or California is something completely different. I mean, are we going to have Dallas as a sanctuary city pretty soon? It's got to be stopped, and it's one of those inflection points that really,
but how do you stop
really
it?
is very, very important.
How do you get around because that's what they're going to use, the freedom of religion argument. How are you going to get around that in the court?
Well, we're going to tie this into terrorist activity, and I tell you, I wouldn't say it's a hard sell, but it's something that's got to be battled and it's got to be cut off in its infancy.
Well, see, this thing in Texas. The reason I talk about that it's the new Democrat scheme, the term Texas Blue. If we talk about it from that way, which is accurate, we'll gain more ground than if you do this anti-Islamic thing. That's what they want us to do.
They're one and the same.
Well, I think
you understand that?
Yeah.
It's the two are the same thing.
Yes.
Well, I think the zoning's a good start there. I mean, it's basically like a friggin' takeover. It's just a
you can, Steve. You can zone where you build a mosque. You just can't go and build churches and mosques and temples wherever you want. things have to be zoned.
But you can't keep a mosque out of an area saying we don't allow mosques.
Sure you can.
Mosques.
Yeah, and it's not zoned for that. Local politics is almost all about zoning.
I understand that, but they got to find a way to say there's nowhere in a certain area of the space that you're allowed to have a mosque.
Yeah, you can have mosques in Minnesota.
But this is like more of a planned takeover.
It is, and they're very patient people.
Yeah, I mean,
this is the beginning of them to
yeah.
That's exactly what it is. I mean, it is what it looks like.
And they have infinite money.
Yeah, that's the problem. They've got the funding. The finances are there, and they'll keep pouring the money in because this is an inflection point.
Now, Brian, why do you think these callers today have been just so off their rocker? I mean, the liberal callers have been just bizarre this morning.
It's very simple.
Well,
the answer to the question is Trump derangement syndrome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
CDS.
I got to tell you, something about that. Now we know that Trump's all ready to go physically for a third term. I think maybe that put him over the cliff. I don't know. They're really totally off, and they're really making the Democratic Party irrelevant because people are seeing this insanity, and it's way too much. It's way too much.
Yep. All right.
If I could make a quick comment could I make one quick comment?
Yep.
Big problem in the Middle East with Iran, no doubt about that. But not too far down the road, and maybe even a bigger problem is going to be Turkey. Since the fall of Assad in Syria, this is going to be a major, major problem, especially for Israel. So something to look forward to.
You don't think the fighting it tooth and nail strategy will work in Turkey?
Oh, the Greg II strategy?
The Greg II for what?
the Greg II.
I don't know.
The Greg II doctrine, we'll call it.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And I watch for a very destructive thing happen to the city of Damascus too. That's a prophetic thing. But Turkey's going to be a big problem.
Well, we had a big victory. Speaking, you're talking about Syria. That Mahmoud guy from Colombia, he's out. Judge said Marco Rubio could toss him out back to Syria, even with his anchor wife. So that was a big victory.
Yeah. We're getting our victories. We just got to keep them going and keep the momentum going. And thank God we got Trump in the White House. I think he'll do it.
That's right.
All right. Abbott's going to be a big help in Texas.
All right. Take care.
The other thing is, I think the judges have woken up.
Yeah. All right. Let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Steve and Brian. It's JJ from Mass.
Hey, JJ.
Hey, JJ.
Hey, Steve. I think, strange calls, but I think great show, quite frankly, as far as I'm concerned.
I'll agree with that.
Plano, Texas, I think, Steve, nothing to worry there. Between the governor, the county, the town, they're going to take care of that. But the Bezos, the pocket rocket talk, I thought that was hysterical, and we got to laugh a little bit.
Well, no, that's a true thing, by the way. I didn't just make that up. The Jeff Bezos rocket is shaped like a penis.
Yeah, no, it's. I thought it was hysterical.
It's true.
There's little truth in humor.
Yeah.
And the Iran situation. I mean, with Richie talking about Iran. I mean, look, they got, they got Starbucks. They got centrifuges in Iran, like we got Starbucks here. So 2 weeks to get a bomb is eventually 2 weeks. But here's the thing: Trump has got that covered. We've got Spirit bombers in Diego Garcia. We've been taking care of Yemen.
If Iran was 2 weeks
taken care of.
If Iran was 2 weeks away from having a bomb, Trump would take it out.
Yeah, that's going to happen if we don't get a deal. I'm not worried about that.
No.
But this media propaganda, misinformation campaign from the bully pulpit about this Abrego Garcia, this MS-13 member, who's supposedly a Maryland dad.
Maryland dad.
Father's Day. Send him a card for Father's Day. Oh my God, this guy. I mean, he already had an order to be deported. And
that's right.
His country of origin, I believe, is El Salvador.
That's correct.
What do you think happens? What do you think happens to that guy when he lands in El Salvador? You know where he's going to go? Right where he is right now.
Mm-hmm.
He's MS-13. They put MS-13 in that prison.
And
the court. The Supreme Court did not order Trump to bring this guy back. The exact wording of it was, the order properly requires the government to facilitate Abrego Garcia's release from custody in El Salvador.
That's very vague.
Facilitate, exactly. There's no, it's not you
but
must bring him
I'll
back.
tell you, this is going to be a big story today because Trump's meeting with the president of El Salvador. So the media are going to obsess over this story today.
Yeah, and more propaganda, more misinformation. I mean, the caller, the guy that called in with that, God, he's got such a smug.
Which one?
His voice is just nauseating. Well, yeah, that's a good point, Brian. There's been a few today. The last one that was really just nasal about talking about, the court, and he asked Steve the question.
The guy from Sarasota, yeah.
Yeah, and then there's the Philly cheese guy that it was at the Tom Laporta at the restaurant. That guy was nauseating as well. He can't even say who the hell he is.
I love these guys that are calling in. They've been listening to the show for 3 hours, and they're trying to tell us that the topics we're bringing up we shouldn't be bringing them up. They're not interesting, but they're listening for 3 hours. I mean, come on.
I thought today was great. I mean, I really did.
Every day's great.
Maybe I'm.
Every day's great.
Brian, Craig, and Steve.
That's right. All right, take care, man. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh boy. Well, that's it for us today, Steve.
Really great show.
Yeah, it was great.
But let's not drop the ball with this Islamic thing. Just to declare them safe, that doesn't make it.
Okay. Well, when there's new stuff, I'll let you know. But that's that. Okay. We're up to date as of now. But there'll be more. Well, listen, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Brian Craig. Steve Kane is here. This is Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. Can you believe this is just Monday? We got a whole week ahead of us. Oh, my God. I feel like we've done a whole week of shows just today. Again, thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Steve and I will see you tomorrow morning, bright and early at 6 a.m. God bless America, and God bless Donald Trump. Okay, we are clear on the radio, but I'm going to keep going here for a few minutes, guys. So hang in there. If you'd like to call in, you can. Because the phones are still working. We're just not on the radio now. And I wanted to go over some of the things that I did not get to on the program today. And we'll take your calls as well. And the number's the same, 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Randy in South Mississippi. Good morning, Brian.
Hey, Randy. What's up?
Just woke up. I just want to give an update because a couple weeks ago about the gas prices, I paid $2.51 down here in Biloxi, Mississippi. You have a wonderful day. Love your show. Go MAGA.
All right. I appreciate that. Isn't that nice? What a nice guy. There's a couple of things I wanted to bring up, but there was one in particular that I did not get to today. Yeah, here it is. Hold on, let me pull this up. This is a good one. Okay. This is CNN. Hold on, let me start it over. This is CNN, and they've been doing some polling data on Trump. And this woman here, I don't know her name, but she always looks like she's constipated, doesn't she? She's always looks pissed off. And anytime they've got good news on Trump, it's like she just can't stand it.
China's president is speaking up publicly about this ongoing trade war. Xi Jinping saying his nation is not afraid. So throughout all of this, one big question has been...
Look how look how this CNN, what did Trump call them? Anchorettes? The CNN anchorette, She's holding a China says they're not afraid of Trump. Okay, she stands with China on CNN. I guess the CNN, we used to call it the Clinton News Network. I guess it's the Chinese News Network now, CNN.
Then and continues to be. How much pain will Americans have to endure in this trade war? And how much will they be okay enduring? A new poll out offers maybe some insight into that feeling, showing that Americans are split when asked which party cares most about their needs. CNN's Harry Enton wanted to look into this one for you this morning, and so he did. And you think you found a potentially surprising answer in this?
This, to me, is one of the most shocking pieces of poll data that I truthfully have seen this year, or maybe in any prior year.
Really?
Okay, this is great. Now listen closely to this. This is beautiful.
And yes, really, because I want you to take a look. Cares more about the needs for people like you. You mentioned the Cape Ball. We got a tie, even after this tariff war had already started, split between Democrats and Republicans on how people feel which party cares more for needs of people like you. And why is that so surprising? Because I want you to take a look at prior years. Democrats always lead on this question. Back in 2017, before the 2018 midterms, 13-point lead. 2005, a 23-point lead for Democrats. 1994, which was a big Republican year, a 19-point lead for Democrats. And now, all of a sudden, a tie? All of a sudden, the Democrats, who are the party of the people, no more. We get a tie on this question, on a question that has traditionally overwhelmingly been a Democratic advantage. People for party.
Okay, now before I get to the rest of this is huge because I was talking about this at the beginning of the show with that clip I played early on with AOC. The Democrats have always had the youth, women, other groups like gays and blacks. And they've always been able to have this narrative going. It's always been false, but they've always had this public perception that the Democrats care about the people. And they've totally lost it. And it's reversed over to the Republican Party under Donald Trump, which is something that Republicans never would have thought would have been possible.
Which party cares more for the needs of people like you? It's truly something I would not have expected to see, especially after this tariff war had begun.
Where does it show that Republicans are making the most gains?
Yeah, again, you talk about party of the people. Look at this. Cares for the needs of people like yourself. Look here, we got non-college, we got those with a college degree. Among those with a college degree, it's the same score. 8 plus 18 points for Democrats in 2017, plus 18 points for Democrats now. But look among non-college voters. Look here. It was plus 7 for Democrats in 2017, and now Republicans had overwhelmingly gained, plus 9 points. That is, the gains have been concentrated, at least within the last decade, among voters without a college degree. The working class. That is where Republicans have gained, even since the beginning of the Donald Trump administration. The Democratic base is now those with a college degree. Among the working class, those without a college degree, Republicans have overwhelmingly gained on this all-important question of which party cares more for people like yourself.
Your reference points are, as you were pointing out, just before a midterm election. So obviously, let's kind of look at that. Where do things stand for the fight for Congress?
Right. Okay. So you have this question, right? And then there's the question, ultimately, are Republicans going to get punished in this midterm election, in part because that's normally what happens, the party in power gets punished, but also because of this tariff war. And I want you to take a look here at the generic congressional ballot. Where we were in April of 2017, Democrats were already ahead by 7 points. In November of 2024 on this question, it was a tie, and then, of course, Republicans won control. Where are we now?
Look at this.
It's Democrats, but just by a point. This looks very much still like what we saw in 2024, not like what we saw in 2017. If Democrats think they automatically have a ticket back to control of the House, I'd say, hold on a second, Republicans still have a real shot at this, despite all of Trump's theatrics over the last month with this tariff war.
Wow. I mean, isn't that something? So Trump very well could make history and not just maintain, but gain seats in the Congress, which is unheard of in the midterms. Now, if you we're not on the radio now, just here on YouTube, you can still call in. The number, if you're watching live, the number is pinned in the live chat. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. Once, twice. Yeah, oh, there you are. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. You can hear me.
I can hear you.
Oh, lovely. So, what is your opinion on all the tariffs? What do you think is the end result here? What's the end game?
Well, that's a vague statement. Can you be more specific? That's a very vague question.
Okay, in the broad spectrum of things, what is his end game? What is his?
You mean the President of the United States, Donald Trump? What is Donald Trump's end game?
Yeah.
Okay. There's several things. One, bring manufacturing back to the United States, which is happening. That's one. Number two.
Okay.
Number two, do away with the income tax for those who make under $150,000 a year and fund the country on import taxes on the tariffs. Those are two of the big ones.
Why not tax like the super wealthy as well? Why not throw that in there?
Well, only the wealthy are taxed with income tax. Poor people don't pay income taxes. He's actually the bill is coming up, the big, beautiful bill that will give us no tax on tips, Social Security, or overtime. So he's about to give the biggest tax cut in the history of lower income workers coming up next. Only people that pay taxes get yeah.
Well, I look forward to seeing that come to fruition, and I hope it does.
Well, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts on it, I honestly don't know. I don't know what to think. I mean, he's all over the place.
Who's all over the place?
Who's
all over the place? Who's all over the place?
That's why I'm asking.
Who's all over the place?
Donald Trump.
No, he's not. What do you mean? Give me an example of him being all over the place.
He just refuses to answer questions from anybody.
Are you kidding? He's answered more questions in 3 months than Biden did in 4 years. Every time he has a cabinet meeting or signs an executive order, it becomes a press conference, and he answers everyone's questions.
No, he answers them with the dumbest answers you could potentially.
All right, give me an example of a question he was asked. Okay, give me an example. Okay, hold on. Give me an example of a question President Trump was asked that he gave a stupid answer to, and give me the stupid answer.
Okay. Do you have time for me to find a reference and then?
Well, you made a comment. You certainly must have.
Clips.
I don't know. You must have one on your mind because you made the reference.
I don't know the name of the people in the media's name.
I didn't ask for the name. Just give me the question and the stupid answer.
They had asked him very specific questions about a tariff, and he just said, "You're a nasty person," and next.
Okay.
He refused to answer that question.
Well, I don't know about that, but so what?
Again.
So what?
And it's been more than one instance, and that's why I'm asking, what do you think his end game is with the tariff?
I told you. And he also wants to end this inequality of these countries around the world ripping us off. You know, some of these countries have 200-300% tariffs.
Do you think Canada ripped us off?
Yes.
Do you truly believe that in your heart?
Yes. Yeah, we're funding all of Canada, the United States. They've stolen, with NAFTA, and the help of Bill Clinton, they've stolen a huge chunk of our manufacturing, our auto industry. They charge us huge tariffs to import our own cars.
Michigan was really doing well in the 80s.
Well, it was doing well before.
It was bumping, right?
It was doing well before the auto industry moved to Canada, and then Canada charges us huge tariffs on our own cars.
Yeah, and they did that to save money.
Canada's ripping us off. I don't care about Canada. I care about the United States. I want those manufacturing jobs
I'm calling
back.
From Canada, friend.
Oh, well, we don't care about Canada. See,
Okay,
Canada is on the coattails of the United States. You're barely a country. And I'll give you some examples of this, okay? Where do you live in Canada?
I live in Kelowna, British Columbia.
How far is that from the U.S. border?
A couple hundred kilometers.
Couple hundred kilometers. Okay, we use miles in America, but well, you make my point.
Okay, so 100 miles.
100 miles. 80% of Canadians live within a couple hundred miles of the U.S. border. Why do you think that is? You're a big country, but 80% of you live with...
I can't possibly fathom this because our country is like 4 times the size of yours, for one. So you wouldn't be able to transport shit all the way up to the top of it.
Oh, nice language, Canada.
We live that... Pardon?
Nice language. What's with the profanity? You're representing your country.
I don't care.
No, you don't care about Canada either. Okay. Why do 80% of Canadians? Hold on.
I'm not saying
Canada land-wise. Excuse me. Canada land-wise is huge. Why do 80% of Canadians live within 150 miles of the U.S. border?
For obvious reasons.
What? What are those reasons?
Because we rely on trade partnership with your country.
That's right. We don't rely on you for We don't rely on you for anything. We don't need you.
Ask the citizens of the top states that border with Canada and ask them if they're affected by it. And
yeah, they are. You've taken their industry. You've taken the factories from our northern states.
No. That's not how it works.
That's what happened. It's called NAFTA.
You shove shit in our pussy government.
Oh my goodness. There you are with the language again. There you are with the let me ask you, are all Canadians as low class as you?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. All right. There we go. Gee whiz. What language? Oh, my goodness. Yeah, you're welcome to call in. I do enjoy your calls. You don't have to agree with me to call. If you're watching live, the number is pinned in the live chat. It's toll free, no matter where you are listening. So this is another story I didn't get to today. This is just bizarre. Look at this. NPR is advocating for pro-Hamas leftists on college campuses. And NPR is under the impression, look at this, for some students who protested the war in Gaza, fear and silence is a new campus reality. So National Public Radio is under the impression that the pro-terrorist, Hamas is a terrorist organization. NPR, which should be defunded, the federal government should defund NPR just over this story alone. But National Public Radio is under the impression that the pro-terrorist Hamas-supporting students of America's universities are the ones that are in danger. They're the ones that are organizing revolutions and forcing Jews to hide their Stars of David and hide the fact that they're Jews on campus. Let's see, this is probably our Canadian back. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. This is John from Minnesota.
Hey, John.
I just heard you talking with that Canadian over the phone, saying that the U.S. doesn't rely on Canada for anything.
No.
We definitely rely on them from logging.
Logging? No, we have wood here in America. We don't need
our wood's
Canadian
way
wood.
worse because it's grown in a warmer climate.
We don't need their logs.
That's really what makes Canadian spruce tougher. We will never be able to beat them.
No, we have plenty of lumber in America. We do not need Canadian wood. We have wood in America.
American wood is worse. It is literally worse for building homes, and we have less of it.
Oh, you're a home builder?
You're wrong.
You're a home builder?
Literally, yes.
Really? You're building a home now?
I've never met somebody this dumb. This is.
You're building a home now?
No,
You're a builder.
I build homes for other people.
You build homes for other people. So you're building a home right now?
Yeah, people. Look, do you know how climates affect trees?
Climate?
Yes. Do you know how that affects tree growth?
Tell me, how does climate affect
longer to grow, which means that the rings on the trees are tighter. It makes the trees stronger. Canadian wood is sturdier.
Yeah. Well, we don't need Canadian
a better
wood.
Product.
We don't need it. We've got great American wood.
Okay. All right. God, you're so slow.
Yes. Oh, he hung up. Okay. I think we can live without Canadian wood. Oh, my goodness. The thing about Canada, okay, and this is the story with Canada. Canada has been on America's coattails from the beginning. They didn't join us in the revolution. They didn't fight for their own independence. They were given that status, what was it, the 20s by England, because England was broke after the First World War. They haven't fought for anything. We finance their entire country. We pay for their national defense. We pay for their national health care system. We're even paying for their Commonwealth dues to the King of England. Okay? And that's why President Trump refers to them as the 51st state. They're getting a better deal than most states. If they were a state, people wouldn't be as upset. Okay? But they're not a state. They're another country, and they're getting benefits as if they were a state. There's nothing that Canada has or does or makes that we need. So far as the climate, I mean, it's pretty much what ours is. Most of Canada is an Arctic wilderness, okay, when you get up north. But Canada's climate is what ours is in the north. We do not need Canada, okay? It's just Bill Clinton with NAFTA drove all these manufacturing jobs from our northern states to Canada and south of the border to Mexico. That's it. And we want those jobs back. That's all. I don't understand what's so wrong with that. But the liberals, that's how they roll. Now, if you're new to my channel, make sure that you subscribe, okay? This is most definitely where MAGA comes to talk. And if you'd like to support my content, go to mypillow.com use my promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, and load up. I mean, there's just incredible deals going on. I just ordered, Thursday or Friday, I ordered a case of the new energy drink that has no caffeine or sugar from Mike Lindell. It's 30% off with our promo code Kane. But look at this. The Percow Bed Sheets closeout sale, only $25. Any color, any size. And as they say, once they're gone, they're gone. I have these sheets on my guest bed. They are spectacular. Look at this. The queen size premium MyPillow, just $19.98. Incredible deals site-wide. The MyPillow that started it all, just $17.98. That's with my promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. You can use my promo code on all the specials at MyPillow.com, and it's free shipping on all orders over $75 with my promo code Kane at checkout. All right, back to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, good morning, Brian. My name is Michael. I'm calling from Washington State.
Hey, Michael.
I wanted to touch base on what that last caller was talking about in Canada needing trees. It's absolutely ridiculous. So I live about an hour outside of Seattle. I'm staring up at mountainous ranges with trees all over the place.
Far as the eye can see.
We got Washington, we got Oregon, we've got Idaho, we've got probably 20 different states with logging, active logging in every state, especially Washington. There's logging all over the state.
Yeah.
So you're right. We absolutely need virtually nothing from Canada. So he can insult your intelligence all he wants, but we're surrounded by trees. We don't need anything from Canada.
You're exactly right. No, I know. They need us. There's no Canada without the United States. None.
No, they've been riding our coattails for decades.
Yeah, and they sided with the king in the American Revolution. They were an American colony. They could have joined the 13 colonies, have been the 14th colony, and be a great part of the United States today. But they've always been sabotaging the United States from day one.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I'm kind of glad that didn't happen because our politics might look a little different today, but
yes,
they certainly had an opportunity to, and I think just being as close to America on our border as they are.
I've never heard people say that American trees are no good. I've never heard that before.
That's kind of unbelievable, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I've never researched evergreen trees or the quality of trees, but I'll tell you what, I'm surrounded by trees right now that are probably 100, 200 years old, and I'm staring up at mountains that are completely full of trees.
Exactly.
We got the Cascade Mountain Range.
Exactly.
That's just insane to me.
It is. All right, man. Take care. Good to talk to you. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, Jay calling back. I guess you can get a second call today.
Yeah, you can. When I do the after the radio, you can call in a second time. Sure.
That's the first time I've ever seen you do this, though. I'm going to go here. You're speaking about, we don't need Canada. I don't know how you feel, but how a lot of other people feel, that for some reason, a lot of countries are really pissed off at America.
Yes.
Every country right now.
That's good.
Is pissed off at no, that's not good.
Yeah, that's good.
That's nothing good about that.
It's very
Why?
good.
You know, if you try to go on vacation, you try to go someplace, they find out you're American, they don't want you around.
Really? So where have you visited where they didn't want you around?
Listen, no. We're talking, listen. I have not left
okay.
right now. I'm talking about.
Then how do you know?
Let me finish. Because it's all over everywhere. Okay, listen to this. Not just our stock markets are crashing; their stock markets.
You know what?
Are crashing.
I was just outside. Hold on,
world.
Jay. I was just outside the country. I was in the Dominican Republic in my MAGA gear. They love us. They love us in the Dominican Republic. I was just there.
That's a lie.
I was just there a week and a half ago.
Don't nobody love us.
Yeah, they do. They love us.
Trump. No, they don't.
Yeah, I was with our MAGA group. We were not only were we in the Dominican Republic, we went like an hour away from the port. They love us, and they were saying "Go Trump." You know, on the tour.
Hey, let me ask you a question. Yeah. You're telling me all these people who are losing their money, We've lost the other day it was $6 trillion. Who do you think is happy about losing $6 trillion? Who's happy about that?
I don't know who's
Tell me
lost
what
money.
people
I don't know
are
anybody
happy
that's
about
lost
it.
that kind of money.
The stock market has lost.
You don't lose until you sell, Jay.
$6
You don't lose until you
Listen,
sell.
I'm not even talking about the fact that selling or this, that, and the other. I'm talking about the fact since he's done these tariffs,
Yeah.
it has lost $6 million.
$6 million?
Where $6 trillion?
Oh, now it's trillion. Okay.
Why do you think that's okay? Why do you think that's okay?
Well, because there's a reset. He's ending globalism.
But do you realize he's had to go back on everything he's done?
He's gone back on
He
nothing.
just went back the other day and says, "Oh, well, we're going to let the cell phones and the computers."
That's fake news.
He keeps
That's
making
fake news.
stupid mistakes.
That's fake news. That didn't happen.
Those are stupid mistakes.
That did not happen. President Trump.
That's fake news.
Yes, President Trump posted on True Social. That's not true.
Okay, so you want to pay more money for all of this stuff.
You're
You're good with that.
I haven't paid more money for anything.
I've paid more money at the grocery store. Everything has went up.
What'd you buy at the grocery store?
Everything. Groceries.
Everything.
Don't be
Groceries.
stupid.
Groceries. Now groceries. Okay.
All groceries are higher.
Mm-hmm.
All groceries are higher. Your groceries went down? Now let's hear this lie.
I don't really pay attention
Your
to the grocery
groceries went
prices.
down?
I don't pay attention to the
You do
grocery
the grocery
prices.
shopping.
No.
You do the grocery shopping in your house.
My wife and I eat out every meal.
No, you don't.
Yeah, we do.
Why you lie?
We do. We eat out every meal. We get DoorDash.
Before when Biden was in office, you sat around and talked about how when you go to the grocery store, your Doritos were so high. When you went to Burger King, your burgers
Burger
were so
King's
high.
eating out. Burger King's
They're
eating
even
out.
higher now.
Burger King's eating
it's
out.
higher now.
Burger
It's
King is
higher
eating
now.
out. Okay.
If you eat at a Burger King, let's go there. It's higher now.
Okay. Listen.
And you're okay with that? You weren't okay
I'm-
with it
yeah.
when it was under Biden?
I'm tired of these countries ripping us off and stealing our industries.
But didn't we say we wanted things to go lower?
They are going down. They are going down. It just
What
takes
went
time.
down?
Gas
What
prices.
groceries have went down?
Gas prices.
What groceries have went
Oh,
down?
your phone
What
battery's
groceries
going
have
dead,
went
Jay.
down?
Your phone battery's going dead. I heard it.
No, that's my other phone
Ga-
giving the sign.
Why do you have two?
No, that's
why do
not
you
my
have
battery.
multiple? Why do you have two cell phones? What are you, a drug
Because
dealer?
I'm at work and I can listen on one and I can do my business on the other.
What-
And then at the same time, I choose to do it that way.
You have
I
two
have more
cell
than one
phones?
phone.
You
I'm
have more-
allowed to.
You have more. I only have one cell
I
phone.
can afford it. I can afford it. No, you don't.
Why do you have
That's a
two cell?
lie.
Yeah, I have one cell phone.
You have more than one phone.
No.
You have more than one phone.
Nope.
Yes, you do.
I have one cell phone.
Brian, we've seen you set up when you used to set up sometimes. A while ago, you would set up more than one cell phone.
That
You did
one
try to do more than
I have
just
I have an
YouTube.
old cell phone that's not connected that I use as kind of like a mini iPad. But I don't use it as a phone.
Okay, can you explain to me when Biden was in office, you talked how groceries and everything was so high. They are higher. Why would you think that we want to pay more?
Well, this is what I know. Gas prices have gone down, and eventually that'll trickle down to lower grocery store prices.
No, it hasn't trickled down. They've trickled
I said
down.
eventually.
Gas prices have went down.
Hey, Jay,
No. Gas prices
I
went
appreciate the
down,
call.
but
I appreciate the call. We're going around in circles. You called twice, which is fine. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
What's going on, Brian? I'm Darren. I'm calling from North Carolina. How you feeling?
All right,
today?
Darren, what's up?
All right, I want to take umbrage with a couple callers ago talking about he had asked about what the end goal was for Trump's trade policies.
Yes.
And he starts echoing things about people having, that basically what that man's doing is he's watching talking heads. He doesn't just sit and watch the press conference. He doesn't just sit and watch the round table of the cabinet meeting. He probably watches 3 minutes of that or whatever they show him, whatever they choose to show him. And then he watches the rest of it's just 90% of people sitting around that desk and their marching orders is to destroy Trump. And so he walks away and goes, I think I know what I'm talking about. I think I know what to be scared of. I think, I think I realize the disaster that's in front of me.
Yeah.
He doesn't know anything.
Yeah.
He could just sit and spend his time watching the cabinet meeting from beginning to end, or watching the beautiful Caroline, do her press conference, and just walk away, and he'd be fine. He'd be 100%. But instead, he's going to sit in front of CNN or MSDNC, and he's going to walk away going, "Oh my God, there's a catastrophe somewhere." Yeah, it's just.
Well, listen. Look at these. These are
problem with my channel, so.
These are people that get upset because President Trump is in good health after his physical. I mean, how can you have a conversation with these people about anything? I mean, these are the ones that wouldn't stand up. They wouldn't stand up for the 13-year-old boy who survived brain cancer a couple weeks ago. I mean, these are really bizarre people.
Yeah, they've been led astray.
Yes.
I don't know what they are at this point.
Liberal lunatics. I mean, I appreciate the call. I'm so. I said this at the beginning of the show today. I am tariff talked to death. Everyone understands what Trump is doing. He's trying to bring American industry back here, have these reciprocal trade deals so it's fair trade, not us getting ripped off. And he wants to fund the country with tariffs so that the American people are not overburdened with income taxes like we are. Everything he's talking about makes perfect sense. And to argue against it is just really kind of stupid. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. Good morning, sir. This is Guy calling from Southern California.
Hey, Guy in California. What's up?
Not a whole lot, man. You're having a little bit of a rough Monday morning. These guys are so stupid calling in your show, man. And I don't want to insult anybody, but here's the deal. Tariffs directly affect food prices by driving them down.
Correct.
We're not going to export. Farmers will not export nearly the amount of food they've been exporting. There will be a surplus. We've already seen a lot of price drops out here in Southern California just in the cost of eggs, milk, everyday items that any American family might purchase. So anyone who says that, they're just repeating what they hear off of CNN or MSNBC. They want a fearmonger out there. But food prices out here have probably dropped anywhere from 10 to 20%.
Well, because my, I don't have kids anymore. My daughter's grown. So my wife, it's just the two of us. So we're not big into groceries. So I don't pay as close attention to the groceries as I would if I still had a kid at home, because it's a different situation when you have kids. But but a lot of times when you look at these leftists that are talking about the food prices, they don't shop at the regular grocery stores. They shop at the specialty stores and they buy the cruelty-free this and the free-range that, and that stuff's always expensive. They don't buy like the store brand eggs and things like that. You understand what I mean? Or the Kirkland brand at Costco. So when they give you the prices, it's really out of proportion to what the prices really are, just based on that alone.
Well, you didn't need me to defend you, but I wanted to call in. I heard a guy, I don't know how far ahead of me he was, but he was saying how food prices have gone up. But that's not exactly true. Tariffs should drive food prices straight into the ground.
Yeah, they will.
Probably cheaper than before COVID, or around the same amount, percentage-wise, because farmers will not send out. Now, I will tell you this. I run a small business on the side of what I do, and things like paper cups, things that are manufactured somewhere else, could go up, may go up, probably will go up.
Could.
But that's going to be short term, and I haven't heard one person that really believes politically like I do that cares about it. I mean, I'm concerned, but I'm willing to go through some short term pain.
Yeah.
To really come out smelling like roses in the end. And you know what? Canada has taken advantage of us. I mean, they would not exist without America. They wouldn't exist.
No. They're totally. We are supporting. Well, I appreciate the call. Take care. We're totally supporting Canada. Oh yeah, this was a story. I didn't get to this on the show today. And look at this. PETA, People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. They're praising Trump because Trump is ending animal testing, which is so awesome. And this god awful animal testing. This is one of the big left-wing things that I support too. I'm opposed to animal testing. It's not needed in this day and age. Trump has ended animal testing. And I haven't heard any liberals even report this or praise him for it. And who would have thought that you would have the People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, PETA, praising a Republican president? No, never. And it's happened. This may be the first time that PETA has praised a Republican president in history. Now, if you're new to my channel, my name's Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. If you're new, make sure that you subscribe to my channel. And if you're already subscribed, do me the favor of liking the video, guys, okay? Because that helps spread the word about the channel. Now, here's these are things I didn't get to on the program today. Now, you know, CNN, I'm telling you, we used to call CNN the Clinton News Network, and I'm about to call them the China News Network. And here's Tapper, and they're talking about the trade war with China.
With our members of Congress here, Congressman, how do you feel about all this?
I feel good about it. China has been a terrible actor, and the blame clearly lies on Congress. We've sold our country out time and time again. Both parties have. This president realizes it, and that's why the tariffs are going into place, or he's negotiating them in. And when you look at places like China that have just ripped us off considerably, our intellectual property, billions upon billions of dollars, they'll take products that are manufactured during the daytime in China, and then at night they'll put them under another label, or even the same label, and then sell them on Alibaba at 30% less. So I think it's a great move.
There's no question.
Yeah, and China, they rip off our auto industry too. They have replica Ford Explorers that they sell around the world, and all kinds of other American cars. They're really disgusting people that have been ripping us off. The whole government of China is just a disgusting government.
Brian.
You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian, I don't know what's going on, but I can barely hear you. Can you hear me okay?
I can.
All right, so I want to ask you, why do you lie so much about these innocent people that have been taken to this concentration camp in El Salvador? Why do you lie so much about
I'm not familiar with the concentration camp.
Brian, why do you also play stupid? You're a very intelligent person.
Where is this American concentration camp that you're referencing?
Brian, the prison in El Salvador.
The prison. Okay, the prison in El Salvador. Okay. Where they're sending the gang members.
These people that the Supreme Court and many other judges are talking about are innocent people that have never committed a crime in the United States.
No, they're here. The fact that they're here, excuse me, the fact that they were in the United States illegally is a crime.
Brian, how can you be in the United States illegally when you already have a green card and it's okay to
Well, sometimes people illegally obtain green cards, or they violate the conditions of them.
Now you're saying that this guy has an illegally obtained green card?
Which guy?
The United States government, the administration of Donald Trump, even admitted that it was an administrative error sending this guy there in the first place. Why do you lie about that?
No, are you talking about the illegal from El Salvador that was living in Maryland?
So why do you say those things?
He is the guy that you're talking about. The one they keep referring to as the Maryland man is an illegal alien from El Salvador. He's a member of Yes, he's a member of MS-13.
He had a green card,
and it doesn't mean anything.
I took him, deported him, and put him in concentration camp.
And he's a member of MS-13.
He's not a member of MS-13.
Yes, he is.
Prove it.
I'm not here to prove it. The Trump administration says so. I'm not going to pull up an article. The Trump administration has said that he was in the country illegally from El Salvador and was an MS-13 member.
The Trump administration said that it was an administrative error sending them there in the first place.
Well, they're keeping him there. Let me ask you, why are you so obsessed with these illegal alien gang members?
Process with that. What's the next step,
you're the due process guy.
Anyone like myself who says anything negative about the administration, who believes in due process and believes in the Constitution of the United States, that is the key issue here. The Constitution. We're in a constitutional crisis here.
No, we're not.
Where the president
Where's the
of
crisis?
the United States is openly defying the Supreme Court of the United
Listen,
States.
you
That's the
you
problem
called
here,
in
Brian.
you
Come
called
on.
you called the show earlier today. Steve and I talked to you.
Yes, and you're allowing people to call
and we and we explained this to you. Okay, there's no constitutional
Brian, you're
crisis.
not explaining yourself right.
I am.
You're lying.
I am not
Brian,
lying.
you're lying.
I have explained myself,
Flat out,
but you don't
you're
want to
lying.
accept
You
it.
defend Trump for anything. Are you afraid if you say anything negative about him? Are you afraid?
There's nothing to say
Are you
negative
afraid to
about
say that
President
he's
Trump.
made a mistake?
He has not made a
Is
mistake.
that what it is?
Trump has not made a mistake.
Bull. You know that.
Well, it's America.
Come on, Brian.
It's America.
Yeah, it's not America anymore as long as
Sure
you
it
take away
is.
those rights.
Sure it
If you
is.
take away due
What
process,
you guys want is
know how close
you
we
want
are
the
to
you
Nazi
want the
Germany
legal
right now?
system never to end. He was ordered deported in
You
2019.
understand how close we are to Nazi Germany?
No, we're nowhere near Nazi Germany.
Oh, bull, Brian. Come on.
Where what
You're
give me the
openly
where
talking
where
about
what give me an
a
example.
man-
Hold on, slow down. What is going on under Trump that is Nazi Germany
Slow
like?
down. You know, you always say slow
Yeah,
down.
because I want to expand on
Right.
this.
And they
What
challenge
is
you.
Donald Trump doing that's Nazi Germany like?
What is Donald Trump doing that is Nazi Germany?
Correct.
Oh my God!
Well, you
Brian.
made the claim.
He's sending people to this El Salvador prison. Do you know what Hitler did? He sent people. He sent the Jews to Poland. He wanted them
What
out of
Hitler
the-
did, what Hitler
the Jew
did,
of American-
when
I'm
you
answering
talk
your
about the
question,
deep,
Brian. Will you
when you talk about the deep,
You're not letting me answer your question.
no, you answered
Are
enough.
you?
I'm going to respond. When you talk about the god awful
You didn't
deportations,
let me talk.
I'll answer this with or without you on the phone. Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. When you talk about the deportations in Germany, okay, what Hitler was doing was deporting German citizens. He declared German citizens to no longer be citizens. Okay, that's not what Trump's doing. We have foreign nationals in the country illegally that he's deporting. All right, appreciate the call. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, Ted from Pittsburgh. How you doing today?
All right, Ted from Pittsburgh.
Hey, Brian, you know, it cracks me up. Like this guy's talking, and these bleeding hearts are worried about this guy that's been in all kind of trouble in the United States. Where's their empathy for the people, as an example, maybe whether he agrees with it or not, the J6 people who got rounded up, spent months and sometimes years in jail, never even seen a court date.
That's right.
Where are these people? Where the hell, excuse my language, where the heck are these people coming from?
Oh, you're right.
Spewing this?
Yeah, you're right. There was no due process for a lot of them. They couldn't even meet privately with lawyers. They were denied a right to speedy trial. Yeah, you're right. There was, yeah. See, you know, whenever you hear liberals talk about the Constitution, they're tearing it up. Just remember that.
Right.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Yeah, they don't care about the Constitution. They care about what Rachel Maddow's talking about,
Mhm.
and they're going to just push that agenda no matter what. No matter what, the president could cure cancer. He could magically cure crime. Say.
Yeah.
And they're going to say, "Oh, that's a bad thing." Donald Trump did that.
No, that's exactly right. All right, appreciate the call, man. Take care. Now, this is what has them the most upset. The president's great health report. I mean, you know, you could hear it in their voices. They're just so upset that he's got a clean bill of health again. And you know, like they weren't concerned about due process and constitutional rights with the J6ers, like the last caller said. They also weren't concerned about health reports or the fitness, cognitively or physically, of presidents before Trump, right? Because they had 4 years of a guy who was completely checked out. Now, of course, this extra time that I'm doing after the after show is brought to you by Mike Lindell and MyPillow. And if you'd like me to continue to do these post-radio shows, go to mypillow.com, use my promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, and let Mike Lindell know that you support him by using my promo code Kane at checkout. Remember, it's free shipping on all orders over $75 with my promo code Kane at checkout. And look at these great deals. The premium MyPillow. This one here, I have this pillow. It has the Giza cotton cover on it. just $19.98. That's normally $69.98, but just $19.98 with my promo code Kane at checkout. The Percow bed sheets closeout sale, all colors, all sizes, just $25 with my promo code Kane. And if you get 3 sets, it's free shipping. The MyPillow, My Slippers, just $59.98. And you can use my promo code site-wide on all the specials at MyPillow.com, no matter what it says. Look at that, the full MyPillow body pillow, just $29.88. Normally $89.99, but just $29.88 with my promo code Kane at checkout. These are just great deals. The new kitchen set with the apron, the oven mitts and everything, just $39.99. And the pet beds, $39.98. Just great deals site-wide. So go to MyPillow.com and use my promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E. And remember, free shipping on orders over $75. Now, again, if you're new to my channel, my name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure you subscribe if you are new. And if you're already subscribed, do me the favor of liking the video. My name's Brian Craig. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, everyone.